for your traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Yeah, they're still working on Veterans Parkway in Murfreesboro this morning, so it's closed off New Salem Highway to Old Salem Road. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.505 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in to a Thursday, the 30th of July. Thank you very much. Usually, Joan, I write down the date.
Yeah.
Today, for whatever reason, I didn't. I'm starting a little bit behind today because I spent too much time talking to Joan about pre-show meeting and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm sending a note right now to one Monty Fritz. And I want to ask him if he wants to come on regarding nuclear energy. I think that you wrote, you ran the piece there, Joan.
Yeah, I did.
In your newscast where we could get $50 billion to house nuclear waste.
Well, if we house the nuclear waste, then we get the $50 billion to do more development of nuclear energy.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. And I mean, the number of jobs that could create is just incredible.
25,000.
Yeah. I mean, it would be such a boon for Tennessee. And I think that we're already set. We're already, we have the infrastructure to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I it looks good for us.
So are you pro big nuke?
Oh, yes.
Is that what you are, Joan? Are you pro big nuke?
I am like pro super big time big nuke.
You know, it's so funny. I'm not gonna do this officially here.
Yeah.
I'll do it officially later. But one of the things that I thought was funny, let me see if I can find it real quick. Because, this is what I love about talk radio. What I love about talk radio is, we can really go into, some of the details of these stories, which, in fairness, TV just can't do. But I thought it was kind of funny. I think this is channel 4 or 5. I can't remember. But listen to how this piece opens.
Well, Tennessee is one of 5 states that have agreed to accept nuclear waste.
I'm just so excited about it. It's like, accepting nuclear waste, like as in, what could go wrong with accepting nuclear waste.
Well, Tennessee is one of 5 states that have agreed to accept nuclear waste.
And so then I'm going to go into all the details of this. And I'm hoping that Monty Fritz can join. He's really smart on all things nuclear. Remember when I interviewed him and he went into great detail because I love nuclear programs and I love nuclear development. I love nuclear energy and all of that. So
that's what he did for years. That was his job. And I couldn't even begin to tell you exactly what it was that he was doing. But he worked in the nuclear field for years and years.
He did. And I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So have you ever, this is how I nerd out. Have you ever watched YouTube videos on how they store this nuclear waste?
I have not.
Oh my gosh. So we have the exact, I don't know what you call it, but like the ground, granite and all that.
Yes, yes.
So basically what they do is, and this might be a big boon for Elon Musk and the Boring Company.
Ooh, yeah.
But, they basically build these big chambers way, way down underground. And depending on what they're trying to get rid of, because there's different levels of nuclear waste. And so they'll bury it in these big, chambers for, 100,000 years.
Yeah.
It's buried underneath the ground in basically these big granite caverns. And I'm way simplifying it, but it's really fascinating as to how they get rid of all of this nuclear waste. So then, when you hear things like...
Tennessee is one of 5 states that have agreed to accept nuclear waste.
All right, it's okay, what could go wrong? You know what I mean? So we're going to talk about that. Again, hopefully Amanda can join us. If not, I've got a whole big thing on it at some point here this morning on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So there were a lot of, and I don't know about you, Joan, but there was a lot of favorite moments last night and yesterday during the Fauci testimony.
Oh my goodness. Some of them, I just can't even. So the F-bomb was actually dropped.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I know. So real quick, this is, though, my favorite moment. This is, by the way, Sam, audio only. This is my favorite Fauci moment, courtesy of Josh Hawley.
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
111 times he said that. 111 times.
What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color's the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I don't know why. I kind of understand why he wouldn't answer a lot of the other questions. Remember, last couple of days, I've been talking about perjury traps. But why he wouldn't answer those questions is beyond me. The great thing, though, Joan, is I've got a highfalutin lawyer coming up later on today at 6:35. Jonathan Fahey.
Perfect.
Is going to join us. And I'm going to say, okay, why couldn't he just answer those questions? And perhaps it's because his lawyers just told them in no way, shape, or form should you answer any question. And so I'll get I'll figure out what Jonathan Fahey has to say about all of this. I thought that the whole thing was interesting. You are right that the F-bomb was uttered quite a few times, as a matter of fact. That was courtesy, by the way, of Senator Bernie Moreno.
Who the do you think you were for doing that? It is.
Yep, that was Senator Bernie Moreno.
What a moment.
That was. I was listening to that, and I thought, oh my gosh. Let's be honest. You don't hear F-bombs often within the hallowed halls of Congress, at least when they know that when they know that the cameras are on.
Yeah.
But you know what? When I think of Fauci, I do think of the F word. Honestly, and I bet most people do. At least most people of our political persuasion and our opinion about the mandates for the COVID vaccines, the lockdowns, all of that. Fauci, I don't know about you, but there was a certain amount of really, really just great satisfaction in seeing his arse handed to him, Anthony Fauci.
Yes.
Now, do I believe that he'll get, tossed out and, in handcuffs and hauled off to prison? No, unfortunately not. They're talking about possibly some contempt charges. We'll have to see what happens. But I do want to play this entire soundbite from Senator Moreno. He's got an interesting, I don't know if you know his story, but he was horrified at the lockdowns and the federal government's response to COVID. And so he sold all of his businesses. Senator Moreno did.
Yep.
He sold all of his businesses and he became a politician. And then, as he described yesterday during the testimony, he said, and here I am in front of none other than Dr. Anthony Fauci.
Who the do you think you were for doing that? It is a total disgrace what you did to this country. And if my Democrat colleagues are standing there defending you, I hope the voters of the United States of America watch the clips of every one of you doting on a guy who was more interested in being a celebrity than saving American people.
I mean, listen, he is right. And this was basically all day long. He's talking about everything that Fauci did regarding the pandemic's decision-making. That's going to include lockdowns, mask mandates, funding gain-of-function research, school closures, and more. Anthony Fauci had a hand in every disastrous decision that was made regarding COVID.
Than saving American people. I will make it my mission to make certain that every single one of those Democrats who did that will see that clip over and over and over again. Because there is no defense of what you did. You may have had a 50-plus year legacy of public service, but it ends in total and complete disgrace. So let me ask you an opportunity to answer one question. Will you apologize, just apologize, to the people who you harmed through your actions? Will you say, do you have the dignity to just say you're sorry?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
I mean, frankly, I've number one, I find it funny. Number two, he wouldn't get up and apologize to the people. Remember, I don't know if it was Moreno or if it was Hawley, but one of the two of them asked if he would stand up and apologize to the people in the back of the room who had been negatively impacted by his decision making. Now, everybody in that room knows, every Republican knows, and Fauci's total 6 lawyers knew what he was going to do. He was going to plead the fifth time and time and time again. But the bottom line with all of this is that everybody is, and it's just like I predicted yesterday, and it's the same thing I say whenever we have these kinds of hearings, is everybody wants their pound of flesh, everybody wants their 5-7 minutes, whatever it is, to go after Anthony Fauci and get their clips out on social media, and that is exactly what they did. And that was Dr. Anthony Fauci's, his entire day. Now, part of this is the fact that people are very angry at Dr. Anthony Fauci, as of course they should be. But will he actually be brought up on contempt charges? We'll talk about that. It is 5:15. Time to check the roads on WTN.
No delays on the major roads so far. Just keep in mind there is still continuing road work in Murfreesboro. It's on Veterans Parkway between New Salem Highway and Old Salem Road, and it is closed off to through traffic. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
As far as your weather for today, by the way, Joan, you ever get frustrated at the fact that, and real quickly, let me read the weather from the official weather center here at WTN.
That would be me.
Doggone it, Joe, did you not send me a weather?
I did.
I don't see it. Oh, you know why? Because Sam sent us his water skiing videos and it got buried. Mostly sunny today and humid and a high, lower humidity and a high of 89. Thank you.
There you go.
Sam sent us his water skiing videos this morning.
Yes.
Knee boarding.
Whatever. Knee boarding.
You were doing a thing on the water.
You were doing a thing on the water. By the way, did you wear a life jacket?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Is legally required to do so. Not that I need it for my own safety.
Let me ask, what, just real quick, then I'm going to get back to business. What body of water were you in?
The Cumberland River.
Okay, so did you go ahead and get yourself fumigated?
I mean, I grew up on it, so I'm immune.
Okay.
Did you grow a third head while you were out there?
No.
Are you glowing?
No.
Okay.
I'm just sore.
You tried to pee yet? It's going to come out glowing?
Came out smooth.
Moving right along. Anyway, so the whole point is, though, is that you have some lawyers that will say, oh, well, Joe Biden's auto pen pardon, it does apply to this testimony. Then you've got other attorneys that will say, no, it doesn't. And I don't know. I mean, clearly I'm a talk show host and a knucklehead one at that. So I have no idea. So I've got to, depend on people like we played this piece of audio yesterday. John, you over there on Fox News.
He can't claim that the pardon would cover any of his answers now. You can only be pardoned for lying to Congress from before the pardon. If he commits a lie before Congress now, he'll be committing a federal crime and could be prosecuted. He's obviously running from this. This is one of the greatest public policy disasters in the history of the American Republic, where experts like him overreacted to the virus, shut down the economy at costs of hundreds of billions of dollars, interfered with the everyday lives of every single American, and infringed on all of our individual freedoms. And so now, of course, he's trying to pretend he had nothing to do with it. But as you say, in the diary, he records pretty meticulously all these governors, mayors, Mayor de Blasio in New York, Governor Newsom in California, urging them to shut down bars, restaurants, schools, and now he's pretending he didn't do that. So if you're a senator, you would say, were you telling the truth in public when you said you had nothing to do with it? Did you lie your diary? What was actually true in your mind? Tell us the truth now. And if you lie, you're committing perjury and could go to jail for it.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know which lawyer to believe. I'll ask Jonathan Fahey about all of this again at 6:35. Did you have a favorite moment, Joan?
Did I do what?
Did you have a favorite moment of the testimony? Because I know you love watching these things far more than I do.
So there was a moment with Josh Hawley. Do you have that one?
There's a lot of moments with Josh Hawley. Which one? Was it at the final minute 36?
Probably.
Where Hawley, I mean, there is a lot of moments with Josh Hawley. Here is, I'll go ahead and I'll play the final 90 seconds.
Okay, good. And
I do have video for this, Sam, if you want to set up the video. And this is Josh Hawley, and he is really giving it to Dr. Anthony Fauci. Here is the final 90 seconds.
Yeah, well, silence is admission. And here's the real thing. At the end of the day, it wasn't just about the money, really, was it? It was really about a power trip. I mean, through all of this, you want to be the most famous scientist in the world. You were so focused on getting every award and every drop of cash that you could, all because you wanted to be on TV. You wanted to be the sun god of science. You wanted to be the guy who was in charge of it all. You wanted to lambaste Trump. You wanted to make sure that nobody else stole your spotlight. You wanted to be the guy. You had time to sit for In Style magazine. Here's what you were doing with your time. You could sit for In Style magazine, but you can't answer questions for the American people.
The best part about that In Style magazine, Joan, it's him sitting next to a pool.
Yes.
You could sit for In Style magazine, but you're here taking the fifth. You could sit for In Style magazine and get $1 million in cash awards, but now the cat's got your tongue. I bet he does. I tell you what, here's my conclusion from all of this. This was really all about you the whole time. Somewhere along the way, you lost your way. You may have been a good public servant at one time. I don't know. But I can tell you from reading your emails now, from looking at what you did, how you used your employees, somewhere along the line, it became all about you. You became a narcissist and a megalomaniac and a liar. And you've lied to the American people, and you've lied to this body. And you've disgraced your profession by doing it. You called yourself the most famous scientist in the world. You've done more to harm science than anybody in my lifetime. And I hope you'll go home and write that in your diary.
It's that final,
Boom.
It's that final, I hope you go home and write that in your diary.
They're going to vote on whether or not they're going to charge him with contempt next week. And then it'll be up to the federal courts.
Which is where it should be, except that we have federal activists. We don't have federal judges in many cases.
One of the things that they're talking about, and Rand Paul, I've got some audio on this. I don't think I've got time to do it now. But Rand Paul and others, Ted Cruz, I think too, they're talking about how he was, and I'm going to air quote this, fundraising while he was in office, if you will. And so basically what that accusation is, and this might be where they really try to go after him legally, was that he used his employees, his staff employees, to try to gun for a prize known as the Dan David Prize of $1 million.
Yes.
And it was for, and again, I'm going to air quote this, public health leadership. The accusation is that Fauci used employees and government researchers and so on to try to help him get that prize money. And so if that is the case, that is illegal. And now this may be a case of, getting, what is it, Sam? Is it Al Capone on tax evasion? Is that what it is?
It kind of could be in that same realm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This might be the equivalent of getting Al Capone for tax evasion. But you know what? How old is Anthony Fauci? 70 something? Whatever. He's old.
80.
Is he 80?
Yeah.
Ah.
How old is Anthony Fauci?
Ripping off the American people for decades.
I'm sorry. Anthony Fauci is 85.
85?
Born December 24th, 1940. Yep.
At least 8 separate federal employees were utilized on government time to assist with his various cash award applications.
Yep.
You share a birthday. Isn't that right? Or is yours the day after Christmas? When is your birthday?
My birthday, day after Christmas.
Wow, you guys are in close proximity.
Me and Fauci?
Yeah.
That's the only thing we have in common. Birthday in December. Yeah, and wow. I can almost guarantee you that at the age of 85, I will be dust in a coffin somewhere, and I will not be, you got to give it to Fauci. I mean, he's lived a good life in the sense that he's still very healthy at the age of 85. I mean, holy mackerel. But whatever. Bottom line is, if I'm, Josh Hawley said, I hope you go home and write that in your diary. I'd be like, you'll have a lot of time in prison to write in your diary. You know what I mean? But he's not going to go to prison. I mean, I think we all just need to be honest. Let's all just, dampen our expectations because I don't think he'll be going to prison.
I don't know. Talked it over with my parents on the boat yesterday.
Yes.
It's entirely possible because he was legally obligated under that subpoena to testify. And to not testify, which is to invoke the Fifth Amendment at every turn, is to be in contempt.
Because he had the immunity. He had the immunity. He had the pardon from Joe Biden.
Well, that was Hawley was trying to trip him up on that.
Right.
But basically, and Jonathan Fahey will explain it better at 6:35, basically, had he answered any of those questions, a judge could have stripped his Fifth Amendment right and compelled him to answer. And then if he doesn't answer those questions, then that judge on a separate charge could rule him in contempt.
And the funny thing is that all those senators who are, I think almost all of them are attorneys or were attorneys at one point, they know that he can't answer that question or those questions about, what color's your tie, what color's the carpet, I don't know, what color's your notebook, whatever it was.
I don't think they were mean enough.
On Fauci, by and large. Did you watch the whole thing?
Yeah.
Because they were pretty nasty.
They could have turned it up another level. I mean, you talk about the potential 1 million Americans, immediately impacted by his actions, and then the tens of millions more in the shockwaves of it all.
They brought it up.
Yep.
I mean, didn't you tell me, Joan, at one point he looked like he was about to cry?
Yeah, he did. I thought on several occasions he looked like he was about to cry.
The Young Americans for Liberty Facebook page shared his opening statement. He was trembling reading his prepared statement.
Yes. But there were several times when some of the senators were saying things to him that were, I'm sure were painful for him to listen to, including, testimony about people who died without their loved ones and the children who, were forced into masking and all that happened. And when they were reading it with, a lot of passion, he looked pained. And I'm glad he wasn't pained enough, but
I agree. Listen, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were pretty mean, especially Josh Hawley, Bernie Moreno. I forget who else was on. Well, I mean, Rand Paul, certainly. So
Ron Johnson out of Wisconsin.
Ron Johnson. Yeah. I mean, they were really, I was impressed. But you know what? I'll give it to you, Sam. Anything short of flogging Anthony Fauci and him curling up in the fetal position underneath the desk is not hard enough. You know what I mean? That's the reaction that I wanted to see. I don't know, though, why he would be trembling, because he knew what he was going to say. He knew that he was going to plead the fifth each and every time. So why would you be nervous or tremble about that? Well, I mean, he clearly believed I think that we're running late. I believe that Anthony Fauci, I believe that deep down inside, he still believes that he is a hero to the people of America.
No. He was trembling because he didn't. That's the body's response when you don't have the testicular fortitude to take accountability for your actions. And you're going to lie and you're going to obfuscate and you're going to try and deflect. That is the fear inside of him.
But he didn't lie or obfuscate or deflect. He merely read the same statement 111 times. Got to go. 528 WTN. Joan was coming up.
That Amber Alert you probably received last night on your phone. It was over a missing baby. We've got the full story on that coming up at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, 5:30 now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Our forecast calling for a mostly sunny day. It's going to be such a nice day. Less humidity for today. Few clouds will move in this afternoon. The high temp, 89 degrees. Well, your phone may have pinged for an Amber Alert late yesterday afternoon. That was for a 1-year-old Franklin County girl who had gone missing with her mother. WSMV4's Sarah Allen reports the pair were found later in Georgia.
Police say it all started here this morning at the Franklin County Judicial Center. Casey and Lily were expected in court around 10 a.m., and that's when they fled, sparking the multi-agency search.
It's my understanding that she was in possession of Lily and had custody of Lily this morning.
However, according to the TBI alert at the time the Amber Alert was issued later Wednesday evening, Casey no longer was in legal custody of her daughter.
So the mother, Casey Hill, had already had warrants for aggravated kidnapping, child endangerment, and felony evading. Now she's facing new charges. The sheriff says her car was tracked in Cartersville, Georgia, by a license plate reader. Senate Homeland Security Chairman Rand Paul says that his committee is going to vote next week on whether Dr. Anthony Fauci should be held in contempt of Congress for invoking the fifth 111 times during Wednesday's COVID origins hearing.
If you've been granted complete immunity, we didn't grant him immunity, but the President Biden granted him complete immunity. With the grant of immunity, do you still need Fifth Amendment protections, or do they apply? So, and telling that all he had to do today was tell the truth. If he testified and told the truth, even if he admitted to destroying thousands of records, which we think happened, there's no penalty that attaches. It would just be the truth.
Now, President Biden preemptively pardoned Fauci on his last day in office, and that clemency would not protect Fauci if he was accused of lying to Congress. He has denied wrongdoing. He claims he is being vindictively targeted for his role in the pandemic response. That is the latest news. Traffic next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. No big delays so far on any of the major roadways heading into Nashville. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.538 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well. Welcome on in to a Thursday, July 30th. Joan's World. All right, so this is where Joan picks the topics. I have no idea what the topics are. Let's go.
All right, so I'm not over the whole Fauci thing. I'm just not.
Okay.
So the very first one is way back when we should have known that there was something wrong with Fauci. Here he is. I don't know what date, like what time period this is, but this was drug up out of, this was found somewhere in the dustbin of history. And it's Dr. Fauci talking about how AIDS, he says, can be passed on just by general household contact.
Safe from the disease. This brings in the implications that there are other ways, just plain close contact. And given the long incubation period of this disease, we may be starting to see, as we're seeing virtually as the months go by, other groups that can be involved. And seeing it in children is really quite disturbing.
When you say other close contact, give me some examples.
Well, for example, if the close contact of a child is a household contact, perhaps there will be a certain number of cases of individual who are just living with and in close contact with someone with AIDS or at risk of AIDS, who does not necessarily have to have intimate sexual contact or share a needle, but just the ordinary close contact that one sees in normal interpersonal relationships. Now,
wow. Do you think that he's just not a very good scientist, or was he trying to sell a vaccine, or what was he doing?
I think it's evident that he's not a very good scientist.
Like, he was in his position for like 50 years.
Yeah. He sure was. He did a lot of developing vaccines. I mean, and he worked for so the National
NIH.
Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
Yeah.
I mean, he was behind a lot. Doesn't it make you question? And I think this is why, the left hates us so much at this point. It made us question everything about our doctors, what we're being told by public health experts.
Yep.
Why is there any question about why nobody would trust them now?
So much red pilling happened during COVID. Like, we lost faith in everything. I mean, if you think about it, Joan, what did we lose faith in during COVID? We lost faith in the government. We lost faith in the presidency, which obviously, by and large, is the government. Not that a lot of people had faith in the government anyway. That goes without saying. But I think a lot of people realized how insidious the government is.
Yeah.
We lost faith in journalism.
Elections.
Oh, yes.
We lost faith in elections.
Yes.
So we lost faith in, a lot of things. And so for Dr. Anthony Fauci, he did a lot of damage. And here's the other thing. Somebody pointed out on the super text line that how is it one man, and this is a legit point, how is it that one man had such a huge influence on policy, whether it is at the federal government level or even at the state level? Because remember, part of this is that he spoke to Gavin Newsom about lockdowns. He spoke to Mayor what's his nuts there in New York about lockdowns and locking down the schools as well.
Yeah.
So whether it was on the federal level or at the local level, Anthony Fauci he wielded such enormous power, and he was wrong.
And he was unelected.
And that's a great point, Joan.
He
was unelected.
He's one of those bureaucrats that just had so much power over us.
Well, and that's why conservatives, do you remember the whole thing about, what was it? Project 2020. What was it? The Democrats kept talking about how President Trump was going to institute
Project 2025.
2025,
yes, Project 2025. And so the Democrats just kept talking about this.
Yes.
Well, one of the aspects of Project 2025 was questioning these agencies with unelected bureaucrats that did have all of that power.
Yes.
And Fauci is a great example of that. So, I mean, I was perfectly fine with a lot of the stuff that I knew about Project 2025. You had the Democrats that were trying to make this out to be, some sinister plan. And it's like, oh, I don't know. Let's see. Free and fair elections, safe elections, credible elections, getting rid of, the unelected, power-hungry bureaucrats in Washington, D.C.
Like Fauci.
Which you can't forget towards the end of the whole COVID thing, there was the monkeypox outbreak in California.
Yeah.
To which, he acknowledged that, a lot of cases are going to be men who get it in contact with other men. But the virus carried a profound risk for groups like pregnant women and children if it spread wider. And I'm sure it would, but the only way you can spread that is similar to HIV or AIDS. It's
right.
Sexual contact or an open sore.
Well, and you'll notice that in the ages-old clip that Joan played just a few moments ago, he basically said, children are at risk of HIV. And I mean, they use these same arguments. They said that about COVID as well. And so, usually they'll talk about the children. They'll talk about, the children are at risk. The children are at risk. And that's usually a sign that they are trying to bully us into something, whether it is wearing masks, taking vaccines, those kinds of things. If we can just save the children, when the reality is that the children, when it came to COVID and clearly when it came to HIV, not really at risk. So saving the children, or children are at risk, that's them trying to do something, exert some power over us, like trying to force us to take a vaccine or force us to comply with shutdowns and mask wearing and all the rest of that stuff.
So to that end, I'm going to play one from this side that's just going to be audio. And this is Dr. Stella Emanuel. She was one of the white coats, one of the people that, she was a doctor and she was treating people and she was doing it with success that didn't involve the COVID shot. And she went out and she had this to say. And after which she said this, she got kicked off of Twitter. Her account was suspended. Of course, this is when Jack Dorsey was still the owner of Twitter.
Yep. Weird beard.
Yeah. Yes. And she was vilified for having this to say.
I'm here because I have personally treated over 350 patients with COVID. Patients that have diabetes, patients that have high blood pressure, patients that have asthma, old people. I think my oldest patient is 92, 87-year-olds. And the result has been the same. I put them on hydroxychloroquine, I put them on zinc, I put them on Zitromax, and they are all well. For the past few months, I've taken care of over 350 patients. We've not lost one. Not a diabetic, not somebody with high blood pressure, not somebody with asthma, not an old person. We've not lost one patient. And on top of that, I've put myself, my staff, and many doctors that I know on hydroxychloroquine for prevention, because by the very mechanism of action, it works early and as a prophylaxis. We see patients, 10 to 15 COVID patients every day.
So there you go.
Yep.
And she was vilified for that.
And she, as you said, people who said those things got thrown off of Twitter. Their careers were ruined. And, ultimately, they turned out to be right in a lot of cases, just like those of us who said, oh, it came from the lab. It came from the lab. Oh, you're a racist and you're a tinfoil hatter. Yep. Turned out it came from the lab. If you had the audacity to say, we don't necessarily always need a vaccine, especially if people, herd immunity. Remember that whole discussion about herd immunity?
I do.
And I was one of those guys that was like, I believe in herd immunity. The more people that actually end up getting it, then the more we build up a tolerance, if you will, against it. And so, I got in trouble for that from some folks, and I don't want to get into all the details, but it's just like, you just, if you said anything opposite to, their Lord and Savior Anthony Fauci, then you got you got busted. You got deplatformed and all the other things that we talk about.
How about the next one? There's a woman. This is just video. You can actually play the audio as well. It was taken from somebody in the stands, like they were watching a baseball game or a football game or something. They're outdoors, and she said, "I'm alone on this stand, and I am not going to wear a mask." And this is what happened to her.
Do you know? I remember this.
Somebody called police.
Yeah, got a cop there. He's got the mask on, and she's sitting,
She's being arrested. When she continues to resist, he uses his taser. You can hear other spectators in disbelief.
This is over a mask.
The scuffle continues as the officer handcuffs her and tries to remove her from the stands.
That's crazy.
Honestly, she was alone in the stands. Why would she need a mask?
Well, it's just like Fauci. Remember the other day? Was it yesterday? We're talking about that first pitch at the Nationals game.
Yeah, yes.
He's alone on the pitcher's mound and he's wearing a mask.
Look, honestly.
Come on, man. So, but
it went so far. It just went so far.
It did. It did. It was great. Fauci was behind all of that.
I may have told this story before, but there was one time, during the lockdowns, my husband and I went out for a walk, and there was a path near us in Maryland. There's a great pathway system, and we were out on the path, walking side by side, talking, no mask on. We're just walking, and this couple comes approaching us from the other direction, and they actually walk out onto the road into traffic. And they're yelling at us, single file.
6 feet apart, Jones, 6 feet apart.
I couldn't even believe it.
Even though.
Wearing their masks while they're outside
Even though
walking.
you literally live together.
Yes. Single file.
I'll do you one better. My wife and I were in A Basin, Arapahoe up in Colorado skiing, and we're outside on a mountain. It is 25 degrees out, so air doesn't really move all that fast when it's that cold. And we're standing in line 6 feet apart with the people working at the ski place yelling at us to pull our face coverings up. After you ski a hill, you're a little tired, you want to be able to breathe regular air.
It made Karens out of
at.
everybody.
Oh my God. People get power trips like you wouldn't believe over it.
Yeah.
Is that where the term Karen came from?
I think it did. I think it originated at that time.
The masked Nazis?
Yeah. So yesterday there was, of course, the Fauci hearing, and I don't know if you got to see John Fetterman actually wearing a suit.
Yes, it's funny. I said yesterday I was doing a fill-in show somewhere, and I actually said, this is serious because John Fetterman is wearing a suit.
No hoodie to be seen. He was wearing a suit. He looked terrific. And then I don't know if you know Drop Site News. I'm not familiar with them, but he was enraged that one of the journalists decided to track him down in the hallway. And here's the exchange that he had with him. Do you see that one?
Yes, I do. This is John. Let's see. Here we go. This is John Fetterman, Drop Site News, and 3, 2, 1.
Julian Andrioni.
Who are you with?
Drop Site News.
Oh, you're Drop Site. Oh, no, it's like a race between who's the more pro-Hamas, Drop Site or Zidio. So now I got both. Hi, everybody. Yeah. Okay.
You mind if I ask you a question really quick? It's about.
I just want to say I want your viewers to say how much I love to watch Israel eliminating the Hamas leadership.
Then you may like this
I know that upsets a lot of your viewers and a lot of your founders.
They go after Israel a lot. That I know.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's a great thing. So there's
President
no news
Trump,
coming out of me. I'm going to always
President
back
Trump said
Israel.
that.
The question is, where does your trash outlet come from, and who's funding it? And now,
Our
if you
readers, we
think,
have 46,000 individual donors.
your founders think it's appropriate to attack and kill Israeli civilians, that should be the news overall. And now you're sticking a microphone in my face. So,
It's not in your face, Senator.
so there's not any news here. So
President Trump.
I think the question is, why does Drop Site love Hamas and Iran and Hezbollah so much? I think that's the news. Yeah. I mean, are you okay with taking your paycheck from these kind of people?
Are you okay with Prime Minister Netanyahu being in the United States?
I love killing Hamas leadership.
Oh, that's awesome.
Isn't that great? And he said, did you hear the question from the reporter? Are you okay with Benjamin Netanyahu being in the United States?
Yeah, I am.
What?
Didn't he
That's a
invite him to
question?
Pennsylvania? I
Did Fetterman invite him? I mean,
he may have said something like he's always welcome here or whatever. But
Yeah.
it sends me. But that's the exact right response when you have these propaganda machines, which is what DropSite is,
right?
That wants to deny the truth and reality itself of what actually happened on October 7th and what has happened in the Middle East for decades, because they're all a bunch of uneducated losers. But that's the exact right response. And more senators and Congress people should fire back at certain journalists when they've got these propagandist positions.
I remember when Andy Ogles, and y'all can criticize him all you want, but one of my favorite Andy Ogles moments, I of course don't have it handy, but he took a page out of the Marco Rubio book, where one of these idiots, as he's getting off of a plane somewhere, that's where they get you, and they start asking him questions about, Israel and Hamas and Benjamin Netanyahu and, the innocent Palestinians that are dying and all of these things. And Andy said, something to the effect of, well, would you ask the people that support Hamas why they're using children as human shields, women and children as human shields, or why they put their bombs underneath schools and hospitals? Can you ask, those people that question? Because that is absolutely what happens.
Yeah.
So this is the part of the media that does drive me nuts, is they don't oftentimes give you the full story. So anyway,
these encounters in the halls of Congress with Congress people is just they're just enjoyable to watch. Can we do that one, Sophie Cunningham, real quick?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Sophie Cunningham, and go ahead and set it up.
Okay, so this is at the Seattle Storm game last night. Fans were there. A bunch of girls were there, and they were wearing XXXY shirts for athletic shirts, and they were carrying handmade signs that thanks Sophie Cunningham for support of women's sports, which she's been out there talking about. But these girls get booed, they get harassed by fans around them, and even the co-owner of the Seattle Storm, her name is Celeste Keaton, approached the girls, yelled at them, called them effing insane. And then the Storm had to come out later on and give a statement to Fox News Digital that apologized for her conduct.
Yeah.
Listen to what the fans did to these girls.
You leave my daughter alone.
So there's some F-bombs in there.
Oh, there are. I didn't
sure
even
are.
hear them.
That's okay. But, they're yelling at these girls who are basically just, number one, they're trying to enjoy the game. And number two, they're harassing them because of the shirts that they're wearing, XXXY shirts.
Yeah, and at the very end, a guy stands up. He's standing there. He's got a hat on, and he says, "Security, take the trash out."
Really?
Yeah, like what a jerk.
Let me see if...
It's right at the very end.
Security!
Take the trash out!
There you go.
There you go.
There you go. Take the trash out.
Like, honestly.
I know which side the trash is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, the trash are the ones that are yelling at these other girls for simply their freedom of speech and freedom of expression.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? I love the Sophie Cunningham story for so many different reasons.
Yep.
Because number one, I believe that the Sophie Cunningham story, basically it means that America is not lost. Basically it means that, the savages that are at the door are going to be met with strong conservatism, whether it is somebody like Sophie Cunningham, people like Josh Hawley, people like Donald Trump, people like, Ted Cruz, Turning Point, a lot of these different organizations. We have the Democrats, and they are clearly, they are the savages at the gate. They're communists. They stand for the most horrifying, horrific things. And so I love that people like Sophie Cunningham and many, many, many others are standing up to the savages at the gate. That is why the midterm elections are so incredibly
matter.
important.
Yep.
All right, 5:57. Joan was coming up.
You know, the kid, the lifeguard that saved the other kid in California? Well, we've got some, the first words from him about what happened that day. It's coming up here at 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning, now 6:01. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It has been more than a month since a hit-and-run driver injured 4 pedestrians in Nashville. Well, now Metro Nashville police have announced the arrest of the driver. Felipe Alvarado Hernandez was arrested yesterday at his home in Antioch. That's where the truck that was used in that incident was parked. Police said that he faces 21 charges, including reckless endangerment and driving on a revoked license. Metro police say that 4 pedestrians were injured, including one who's still hospitalized at the Vanderbilt University Medical Center burn unit for treatment. 2 others were people using wheelchairs. We're hearing from the young lifeguard who helped to save a 10-year-old boy during that heart-stopping rescue in Santa Cruz, California that's been all over the internet. Here's ABC's Hannah Batar.
16-year-old Ryder Williams says, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to return the child to his family safely. This is my job, and I love what I do.
I think he probably, from what I gathered, he assumed he was going to die. He was drowning. He knew he was drowning. He could not express sufficient gratitude. There's nothing more valuable to me than my children.
Yeah, that's the kid's father. Now, President Trump has invited that lifeguard and the kid that he saved to the White House. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com.
From ABC News, Wall Street now. Stock futures point to a higher open today, but they'll have a long way to go to make up for Wednesday's losses. The Dow plunged more than 1,100 points to close at 51,594. The S&P tanked 1.5%. The Nasdaq 1.75%. The ebbs and flows of the U.S.-Iran war have driven up gas prices for consumers. They've also pushed up the bottom line at Shell. The oil giant posted adjusted second quarter earnings of $9.8 billion, comfortably beating analysts' expectations. eBay has settled a lawsuit involving an alleged harassment campaign that included stalking, threats, and mailing of live cockroaches. A Massachusetts couple claimed that eBay employees targeted them because they posted negative comments about the e-commerce giant. And DoorDash is a step closer to flying deliveries right to your door. The company says it's earned FAA certification to build its own custom-made delivery drones and to put them in the air. Jim Ryan, ABC News.
And stock futures looking a little better today. We've got the Dow futures up 138, the NASDAQ futures plus 285, S&P futures right now gaining 37. That's the latest news. Stick around. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
.605 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I want to tell you about my buddy Dr. Jeff Horn and all the vision pros at Vision for Life. So many people, maybe even you, are living with cataracts, and maybe you don't even realize how much it is impacting your everyday life. Now, the good news is the fix is quick. It all begins with a personalized consultation with Dr. Horn at Vision for Life. Now, if you've been dealing with blurry or cloudy vision, glare or halos around lights, colors that just don't seem to be as bright as they used to, well, those are all signs of cataracts. And for a lot of folks, even driving becomes difficult, even dangerous, especially at night. Now, some people even experience double vision in one eye. Now, all of this, friends, you don't have to live with this. Cataract surgery these days, it is fast, it is painless. The results can be truly life-changing. They have been for me. So don't wait. Call Dr. Horn, 615-436-2020, 615-436-2020, visionforlife.com to schedule your cataract evaluation with Dr. Horn today and find out if you qualify. Visionforlife.com and start seeing clearly again.
Okay, got an accident on 24 westbound right now. It's in Rural Hill, just past Bell Road, and the right lane is blocked off by it. We've got emergency vehicles on the scene. Bellshire, I-24 westbound, the on-ramp from westbound Briley Parkway north. There's a crash, and the on-ramp there is partially blocked off. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
6:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986. By the way, you know, one of the things that we got a lot of messages yesterday, Sam and Joan, regarding, I guess, our signal was not great.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so I don't know why. We did talk about this a couple of days ago where, you know, some people are now watching us on YouTube and hooking it up on their phone as they drive. Now, I would not recommend that for a couple of reasons. Number one, I don't know if that would count as distracted driving. Today, I am sans hat. I'm not wearing a hat, and so I got the shine coming off my head. Don't want to blind drivers. That's all I'm saying.
Are those headlights? Oh.
Bottom line, though, is that there's so many different ways to listen. So if we're coming in all staticky and crackly or whatever on the radio, all you got to do is put us on your phone and do it through the Bluetooth thing, and you can hear us crystal clear. So there's a lot of different ways to listen. And if you can also stream us if you want to stream us as well. So lots of different ways. And
part of this is, isn't this the annual sun flares can cause a disruption with radio signals? I mean, it happens all the time.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I thought Anthony Fauci's head just got in the way.
Is that what it is? Anyway, whatever. So, and when our show ends, you want to listen or watch, you can do it any time of the day or night. Just knock yourselves out. Again, you can download the show, watch us on YouTube. By the way, do you know what? And then I promise I'm going to move on. I've been begging people to like the show. And we've got a lot more likes on the YouTube chat in the last couple of days. I guess begging does work in some instances, Joan.
It's only the courteous thing to do. If you're going to be on the live stream and you're going to comment, you should like.
Yeah.
And you should subscribe if you haven't subscribed.
We ask for so little around here, don't we?
I need a new pair of skis, guys.
All right, so we have been attacking Iran, not shocking in the least, as I mentioned to you yesterday or the day before, whenever it was. They tried to, sucker punch us. And so they attacked our military base in Jordan. We were able, along with Saudi Arabia, to knock down all of those missiles and drones. Donald Trump was really angry, and one of the things that the president said is, we are going to bomb the living crap out of you. And apparently now, last night, that is exactly what we did. I've got some video.
Just 12 hours after President Trump warned Iran would get a beating, U.S. forces launched heavy strikes against the regime. Dozens of targets were hit, including IRGC military command centers, missile and drone launching positions, and the remaining maritime capabilities belonging to Iran. Now, U.S. Central Command released a statement saying CENTCOM forces successfully completed a heavy wave of strikes against Iran in response to yesterday's attempted missile attacks on U.S. forces. The strikes aim to further diminish threats posed by Iran and its proxies to American forces, commercial shipping, and neighboring Gulf countries. Earlier in the day, President Trump told Fox News, "We are going to beat the effing S out of them," after the Iranians launched that surprise missile attack on U.S. forces in Jordan. The president later spoke from the Oval Office, saying this.
We're going to hit them very hard. I mean, I can actually say that because in that, there's very little they can do about it. It was a different group than we're dealing with. They've already apologized. But, we got to smack them a little bit.
Mr. President, you always going to hit back when they strike?
Will I always hit back?
Yes.
Pretty much.
So there you go. And by the way, I mean, isn't that the problem that we have been facing literally since day one? Isn't that the problem that we've all been talking about? I know that I mentioned it when we first started this war. It's like, okay, so there's all these different factions within Iran. How do you know if you're dealing with the right one? That is the personification of the problems that we have here in Iran. And so now the question is, okay, so how long is this going to go on? How long are we going to continue to bomb Iran? It's like Groundhog Day, every day we're bombing Iran, and still the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, they survive. We need to continue to bomb them. We need to continue to nuke their economy as well. We cannot let our boot off of the neck of Iran. We simply just cannot do it. It is 6:12 on Nashville's Morning News. on Super Talk 99.7. So, Joan, so we're done with the bombing of Iran at this point now? Is that we're done for another day? I think we do it at night over there.
She's getting coffee.
Is she getting coffee? Okay.
That Wally's Bean Machine, man.
Listen, Wally's Bean Machine, if Wally's Bean Machine is going to be a problem and if it's going to be distraction, then we're just going to get rid of it. I'm totally kidding.
Yeah, if you like your tires, I wouldn't do that.
We could not live without Wally's Bean Machine around here. So, no, absolutely not. So we love Wally. Wally'sBeanMachine.com. Okay. So bottom line is, yes, we attacked Iran again. I'm not going to bother to get into all the details. It's just like, as I said, it's another day. It's another bombing in Iran, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. We also know that they will survive because they always do. So we've got a lot more bombing that we're going to need to do. Let's talk about real quick the fact that the state of Tennessee, this is audio only. This is audio only there, Sam. The state of Tennessee wants to go nuclear.
Well, Tennessee is one of 5 states that have agreed to accept nuclear waste.
So she sounds very happy, and that's all fine, well, and good. But, I heard that this morning, and I'm like, oh, wow, what could possibly go wrong?
Well, Tennessee is one of 5 states that have agreed to accept nuclear waste from around the country. And in exchange, the state will get federal help developing nuclear energy. Storage sites, also referred to as campuses, could be built here, and they could attract up to $50 billion in private investment, which could lead to billions of dollars for the state. These campuses could also create thousands of new jobs.
Governor Lee posted on social media saying that Tennessee is the global epicenter of nuclear energy and honored to be selected as a finalist to host the U.S. Department of Energy's Nuclear Life Cycle Innovation Campus. Tennessee, of course, is home to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which enriched uranium during World War II as part of the Manhattan Project, where the U.S. developed the atomic bombs.
All right, so 6:15, going to get into some details on what exactly it is that we're looking at straight ahead. Time to check the roads on WTN.
The on-ramp from westbound Bradley Parkway north, there's a crash. No problems on 65 or 40, no unusual delays on 440. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather goes, it's going to be nicer today, not nearly as humid, and high around 88. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7. So, we're going to be apparently now the dumping ground for a bunch of nuclear waste from other states. Now, it sounds really bad, but the reality is that we are really one of 5 states who can handle that nuclear waste. And the whole point is that we are able to do it safely. That's number one. We already have the infrastructure. That's number 2. And we are going to get a $50 billion capital investment from the federal government. So now, of course, the question is it safe? They also, by the way, say that we're going to get $10 billion in state and local tax revenue, as you heard, create 25,000 jobs. So, this happy report from local news, it does leave a lot to the imagination. What kind of nuclear waste are we talking about? How is it going to be stored? What are the environmental impacts as well? And these campuses that they're talking about, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but, depending on what we're talking about, you can have a bunch of buildings and a bunch of, plants, if you will. And they look like manufacturing plants, but also they are buried deep within the ground, some of this nuclear waste, and it's surrounded by granite. And so what are these campuses going to be? Here's the thing. You think people are freaking out about data centers and flock cameras? Wait till all of a sudden they want to put a nuclear waste storage facility near your home. But we already have that out at Oak Ridge. We already have a number of different nuclear facilities out there in, eastern Tennessee. But we've been doing this for a long time, decades, as a matter of fact, as the state, as you all know, with the history of Oak Ridge. So I looked up what happens to all of this nuclear material. And if we're talking about spent nuclear fuel, basically they store it in these big steel and concrete containers that are designed specifically for nuclear material, and they put it way underground, surrounded by rock and granite and all that, because we are, of course, a state with a lot of granite. And, it's away from the environment, and obviously it's away from any kind of water supply. And again, depending on what we're storing, Sam, look up what was happening in American history 100,000 years ago. Just humor me. What was happening 100,000 years ago in American history? Because some of this nuclear material is stored safely for 100,000 years. And then who knows what happens to it? The radioactivity decreases over time, like hundreds of years. Some of these isotopes remain hazardous for thousands of years, which is, why some of this material is buried for 100,000 years. We already, by the way, do a lot of this stuff here in the state of Tennessee. We already store some radioactive material. We already have the infrastructure to do this. We have what's called the Y-12 National Security Complex in Oak Ridge. You can also, by the way, in some cases, reprocess or recycle some of this nuclear material, but that is really expensive. Sam, do you have that yet? What was going on in America 100,000 years ago?
100,000 years ago, North America was in the middle of the Pleistocene epoch, or the Ice Age, during marine isotope stage 5.
Okay. So in other words, that's what was happening 100,000 years ago. I did that to tell you, to kind of like give an indication as to what can happen in 100,000 years. Here's what the governor said. The Department of Energy selected Tennessee as one of 5 finalists to advance in the competitive process to establish a nuclear life cycle innovation campus, which would support the development of domestic nuclear fuel cycle capabilities, accelerate advanced nuclear technologies, and reinforce America's energy security. And so you had 5 states now. You had like 26, I think 24, 25 states that applied for this $50 billion and the opportunity to accept this nuclear waste for the benefits. 26 states. So the notion that, they're just going to dump a bunch of nuclear waste on our piece of crap state. No, this is a big deal for the state of Tennessee. Other states being considered, Idaho, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Utah. So we're in the running. We're not there yet, but we are in the running. Bill Lee, the governor, said this in a statement. DOE selected Tennessee as one of the 5 finalists to advance in this competitive process. Just looking through the proposal, here's what we are proposing. We feature a complete nuclear ecosystem, as they say. We, again, have Oak Ridge as the nation's nuclear epicenter. The TVA has been selected for a $400 million Department of Energy award to advance America's first small modular reactor. We've been actually at the forefront of that and at the forefront of new nuclear energy development, among other things. The Tennessee, I also thought this was interesting because what happens in some of these states is the governor and some agencies within the state might be all excited about doing something like this and partnering with the federal government. But then the state legislature comes in and they throw a doggone it. Hold on.
I just hate when that happens. It is so annoying.
I don't know. I'm fine like all the time. And then I have to, kind of read something without audio. And this is what happens. I apologize.
Do you need some?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm good. But thank you for jumping in. The Tennessee state legislature has come out in support of these efforts. The reason why that is important is because in other states, a state legislature might come in and throw a wet blanket on everything. So the state legislature coming in, and specifically the Senate coming in and saying, oh no, we support this, tells the federal government that everybody is on board, from the TVA to the governor's office to our state legislature. Everybody's on board, and we should get the $50 billion and the 25,000 jobs and all of the rest of the accoutrements. So now what I want to know is this. how much nuclear waste are we actually talking about and at what level? Because, they've got high level, they've got low level, they've got intermediate waste as well. They've also got like reactor components. And I don't know, and nobody is saying what exactly it is that we'll be storing. Where would the sites be? Would they be in Oak Ridge? Would they be in some of these sort of outside communities that are very rural? Where would they be? What exactly are we talking about? Are we talking about storage and burying or trying to reprocess some of this stuff? And what would that $50 billion actually be used for? And Joan and I, we talked about this earlier. I think it would probably be used for nuclear waste storage and or further developing our own nuclear programs for energy. I'd say probably land purchase, construction of these sites, research and testing facilities, and specialized equipment as well. So there's a lot that we don't know, but that really short.
Well, Tennessee is one of 5 states that have agreed to accept nuclear waste.
I gave me, more questions than answers. And so I'm going to try to get, I mentioned this earlier. I'm actually going to, Joan, mom of the show, what is an acceptable time to call Monty Fritz?
He's up now. I'm very sure of it.
Okay, so
early riser, yeah.
I've sent him a text, but one thing I've noticed about Monty Fritz is he doesn't necessarily always respond to text messages, which is fine.
Yeah.
My daughter's the same way, drives me absolutely nuts. So I'm going to call Monty and see if he'll give us some of his opinion on all of this here at some point. Because, his background is in nukes. And so I'd love to get Monty's opinion on all of this. It is 6:24 on Super Talk 99.7. Joan's got the news coming up at 6:30. Joan.
Well, you may have seen how awful it was on Wall Street yesterday. We've got a bit of an explainer about what was going on with stocks. It's coming up at 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Dan Mandis here for my friends at TT McCall's. Now, they've been helping out Tennesseans for over 100 years. Fair prices and outstanding customer service. Now, right now, at DT McCall's, they've got great deals on all things electronics, appliances, furniture, lawn, garden, and a whole lot more. So you know that DT McCall's, they've been saving Middle Tennesseans money for over 100 years, 4 generations of treating people right with a focus on savings and customer service. Now, the first thing I do when I realize that I need something for the house is I go to dtmccalls.com. I do check out the latest specials, and typically I'll order right from the website. But if I have to go see it, if I've got to go to brick and mortar stores, I go to DT McCall's. I always get great customer service. So find them online. It is dtmccalls.com, dtmccalls.com, 5 locations across Middle Tennessee, Carthage, Cookeville, Lebanon, Lafayette, and Franklin. Again, that website, one more time, dtmccalls.com. Do you know what I'd like to do, Joan? Do you think we'd get in trouble if on Mark Pody's commercials, if we would like reproduce it with our rock and roll heavy metal version?
I think he'd actually like it.
See, I would love that. I don't know though if he would be okay with that. But if you missed it a couple of days ago, we came up with a heavy metal version of the Mark Pody jingle, and he loved it. But I don't know. I don't want to push my luck and actually change the jingle on the official commercial. But I could say that it was...
what could go wrong, honestly?
I could say that it was Joan's idea.
Can we blame it on Sam instead?
Sam, what are you doing?
Yeah, come on,
he was so proud of what he created on AI or whatever it was, and then he went ahead and took the initiative to change the Mark Pody commercial. Anyway, moving on. 6:27, Nashville's Morning News. Mid-10 Ford. Yes, I do agree. Times are tough these days. If you need a new car, you need a new truck, maybe a minivan, and maybe an SUV, Mid-10 Ford, they can help you out with great selection and pricing as well. Now, they've been around for 56 years, since 1969, helping people get the vehicle that is right for them. Now, right now at Mid-10 Ford, you can save $1,000 or more on select Ford trucks. They also offer special financing as well if you need it. Now, Mid-10 Ford, they are a one-stop shop. You can buy your vehicle there, you can get it serviced there, and they also have a body shop too. Brand new or pre-owned, you can check out all the great deals at their website, mid10fordtrucks.com. That's mid10fordtrucks.com. They offer low-pressure sales, maximum customer service. This is a family-owned business going back 4 generations. So yeah, they know how to treat you right. They also know how to save you money. Stop by Mid-10 Ford, 1319 Foster Avenue. You can call them 615-259-2050, 615-259-2050, and find out how they can help you. They've got great socials, Facebook and Instagram as well. Mid-10 Ford, where trust comes first. Mid10fordtrucks.com. Let their family take care of your family.
Good morning. It's now 6:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories, and we've got your forecast and traffic coming up in 5. Iran firing more missiles at U.S. allies, Jordan and Kuwait. That attack coming after the U.S. military completed its first strikes against Iran in 6 days. Here's ABC's Karen Hua.
A heavy wave of American airstrikes on Iran, the first in nearly a week. Central Command saying dozens of military targets were hit, including command centers, missile facilities, and maritime capabilities.
Video from Iranian TV showing people digging through the debris at what's described as a residential building on Kesham Island in the Persian Gulf. U.S. officials calling it a powerful response to Iran's surprise attack on U.S. forces on Tuesday. A man is facing charges after a body was found in a river near Hopkinsville. Police say that a runner found 34-year-old Clifford Barber's body in the Little River. Police say it was clear that Barber had suffered from gunshot wounds to his torso. Arrested is 44-year-old Terrence Christian of Hopkinsville. He's been charged with murder. A big drop on Wall Street trading yesterday, with the Dow Industrials losing more than 2%, 1,100 points. Now, you can blame it on the Federal Reserve. New Fed Chair Kevin Warsh announcing interest rates are staying where they are for now.
The economy is showing impressive resilience. Even with recent shocks, the trends are positive and reveal solid growth.
Fed governors voting on the interest rate decision. It was a 9-3. Now, those three wanted interest rates to go higher. President Trump has rallied for lower interest rates to spur, especially the real estate market. There is speculation, though, that the Fed could raise their rates during its September meeting. That's the latest news. We've got traffic and weather ahead. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 633 Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mendes here for my friends at the Covered Patio. Warmer weather means you want to spend more time outside. And by the way, yeah, it's been hot, but don't forget that fall is coming. Another great season to spend outside in your covered patio. Now, if you want to add more living space to your home, think about building or upgrading your patio. So if you don't have one, they can build you one. If you have one, but you want to upgrade it, the covered patio is your place to go. Now, they've got motorized screens so that you can easily keep the patio open when you want some sun and closed when you want some shade. So your back screened-in porch becomes a lot more enjoyable. Now, they've got a ton of outdoor living options with motorized screens, patio covers, custom wooden decks, and outdoor structures, and a whole lot more. They've got a lot of options with styles for every budget. The Covered Patio is dedicated to fair prices and customized solutions for your specific home and your specific space. So enjoy your home a lot more with an incredible patio upgrade from the Covered Patio. Reach out to them. Tell them Dan told you to reach out. 615-695-2407. 615-695-2407. Online, thecoveredpatio.com, thecoveredpatio.com.
There's a crash in Joelton. It's on 24 westbound before Whites Creek Pike, and the right lane is blocked off by it. Careful in that area. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.638 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on into Nashville's Morning News. So I sense, Joan, this is interesting. So I sense that there's a lot of people that are not sold on Tennessee becoming the nuclear dumping ground of the rest of the nation. So let's go ahead and I just did a segment on it.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead, if we could, Sam, and do a Daily Dan poll on YouTube and ask basically the question, do you approve of Tennessee accepting the nuclear waste from other states for $50 billion and so on and so forth? Figure out a way to do it, Sam, if you would. But people are against this. I see where the state's going with this because we do have the infrastructure and all of that. But, you know, for me, the bottom line is I have some worries about it, but this is something that has been coveted by many other states. So we'll continue to talk about it. And I'm not sold on the idea at all. I am sold on Dr. Anthony Fauci being an idiot, and Jonathan Fahey, who is not an idiot, is joining us here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And we're going to talk a little bit about Dr. Anthony Fauci's testimony yesterday. Before we get into some specifics, Jonathan, remind people just how highfalutin of an attorney you are. Give us your attorney street cred.
I was a federal prosecutor for 17 years and had been in private practice for about 5 years, and also as a state prosecutor. So having been a federal prosecutor, I dealt with defendants or witnesses trying to take the Fifth Amendment in various, different settings, and it's kind of interesting to watch Dr. Fauci do it yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was interesting. One of my favorite moments was when Josh Hawley asked him, okay, so, what is the color of your tie and all this?
What day of the week is it today?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color tie are you wearing?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
What color is the carpet in front of you?
On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer based upon my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution.
All right, so clearly he went in there not answering any questions. What do you say to the person that might say, okay, why couldn't he answer those questions?
The argument there is if you start answering any questions, you've waived your entire Fifth Amendment privilege, and then you can't invoke it again. So that's the reason he had to, and that was certainly his lawyers that told him that he had to on even those types of questions. So Josh Hawley knew that, but was just kind of messing with them a little bit. But again, it's interesting because he did give an opening statement, so you could make an argument that was a waiver, but ultimately that was the play he made. But the interesting thing about the Fifth Amendment, he has to have a reasonable belief his answers in this whole hearing would have tended to incriminate him. So not just that you don't want to answer a question, but you have answers, your truthful answers would tend to incriminate you. So between him and his lawyers, they believe, unless they were not being honest about the assertion, that he has criminal liability based on what he did and what he said in the past.
So one of the things that I found interesting about all of this, and you're right, everybody knew that he was going to give the Fifth Amendment, plead the Fifth Amendment. But there seems to be a debate, and maybe, I don't know where you fall on this, but there seems to be a debate where his auto pen pardon from Joe Biden would apply to this hearing and this testimony, because some said that it did not, many others said that it did. And so I guess the argument is you had a pardon and that pardon did apply to this testimony. So you refusing to testify means that you are in contempt, and they're going to apparently have a vote on that. So talk about where you stand on all that.
Well, assuming, since if there's no argument that the pardon is invalid, or there's not a reasonable argument that it's invalid, then you don't have a Fifth Amendment privilege, because it's the same thing as, typically in the government, if a witness, you want them to testify, but they're claiming the Fifth, but you'd rather have their testimony, you could give them immunity and then compel them to testify. A pardon's just as good as immunity, probably even better, meaning for the defendant or for the person asserting it. So the argument is he's waived it. He doesn't have a Fifth Amendment privilege, and the only thing he would have a Fifth Amendment privilege would be something between the end of the Biden administration and currently, and current testimony doesn't count, because the Fifth Amendment is if your truthful answer would tend to incriminate you. So if he answers truthfully, that would that tend to incriminate him? No, because the prior stuff was all immune or pardoned, and it doesn't cover perjury. So you can't just say, I'm going to lie, so I'm going to take the Fifth because I'm going to lie. That is not covered under the Fifth Amendment or anything else. So that's the argument, that he is in contempt because he didn't really have a Fifth Amendment privilege at all at that point because of the pardon. I think the counter from his team would be, well, there's possible state investigations and there's ambiguity about the validity of the pardon. They're going to say that. However, if you were to go in and try to charge him with something, they'd say, you can't, he's pardoned. So they're sort of in a little bit of a trick bag. And I think most of the assertion of the Fifth Amendment was because if he had to explain the discrepancies in that diary and also the embarrassing parts about the diary, which is, at least everything I've seen was embarrassing, it would make him look, it would just utterly destroy, I would say, what's left of his reputation, because I think people on the left still look at this guy as a hero and say, thank you, Dr. Fauci, for some odd reason. But I think if he had to get up there and actually answer these questions, he would have looked really bad. I mean, trying to explain the stuff in the diary made him look like the diary made him look like an utterly unserious person.
Right.
And remarkably, during the pandemic, which should have been the busiest time of his career, he had more free time than anyone I know that has a job. It was astonishing how much media he did and just nonsense he did.
Oh, yeah. More with Jonathan Fahey coming up next. It is 6:45. Time to check the roads on WTN.
24 westbound past Bell Road. Accident blocks the right lane. EMS on the scene. We've got delays from Old Hickory Boulevard south. Jolton 24 westbound before Whites Creek Pike reports the crash. No problems on 65 or 40. I'm Christy O'Brien.
Mostly sunny today, less humid, and a high of 87. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. All right, so Jonathan, talk about what exactly is a perjury trap, because I know that he and his lawyers most certainly discussed that when they were talking about whether or not he was just going to plead the Fifth to everything.
I mean, I think when people talk about it, they're saying the government or whoever the in this case the Hill would try to get him in some sort of inconsistency and then call it perjury when it's not perjury. But perjury, it's a false, knowingly false statement that's material to whatever they're investigating. It's not just saying, last week I thought it was 11:30 and today I thought it occurred at 11:45. It's not that type of thing, but that's what they would be trying to say, is they'll look for any nuance and then say it's perjury. However, I think that's more of a dodge from testifying, because if he got up there and told the truth would just be so ugly for him. But I don't think it would, he would probably have to say, hey, I was a little bit misleading when I dealt with the American people. I was really into my celebrity. I didn't really take my job particularly seriously, even though we were in the middle of a pandemic. Like, all of those things are so bad that he didn't want to have to say them. But yeah, so that they're basically saying, the whole purpose is to catch him in, perjury. But I think that's just more of a game. The other thing they could do is try to basically compel him to testify, put him in front of a judge saying he's claiming this privilege, we don't think it exists, have a judge then weigh out the equities, and the judge could then say, well, if you will, put on the record he's immune for prosecution for his prior actions, I'll make him testify, and then if he doesn't, we'll put him, hold him in contempt. And also the government could do that with a grand jury investigation, could put him in front of a grand jury and investigate not him, but they could investigate anyone that might have been involved with his crimes and use him as a witness, and he can't do anything to get out of that.
So what do you think is going to happen here? Clearly, there were inconsistencies. There was an email stating that he knew that masking was ineffective. He continued with that. Clearly, he knew that this thing came from the Wuhan lab, even though he kept talking about the wet market. I think that he is obviously trying to distract from the fact that I believe that what he did was he funded the gain of function research through Eco Health, is that what it's called? I can't remember now. But I mean, through the grants that eventually ended up in the Wuhan lab. So I think that he's guilty on so many different levels. What do you think is going to happen?
I think next week the Senate will vote to hold him to hold him in contempt, and they'll refer it over to DOJ, and they can decide whether to charge him with contempt. And there is, a lot of precedent for this when you look at what the Biden administration did with people like Peter Navarro and Steve Bannon and probably others, that they held him in contempt for not testifying or not providing information in response to the January 6th case. So it would be hard for the Democrats to act like there's something unfair or heavy-handed when they just did it for their holy grail of investigations January 6th. So I think that's what will happen. DOJ will decide what to do, but if they decide to prosecute him, it's going to drag. We're looking at okay, this kicks it down another year or so. So will they decide to do that? Will they work something out with him that he agrees to testify? If they get more assurances of immunity, those are the questions. And also, you look at the Hill. We have an election coming up in November. Where do things stand at the end of that? Where are the priorities after that? So lots of things I think can, change the landscape on this thing, because it's huge news now. A year from now, it may not be, and it may not be a high priority.
And here's the other thing that I would ask. Okay, so if you grant Anthony Fauci immunity and he testifies, okay, but ultimately, I hate to say it like this, but to what end? I mean, people wanted to see him held accountable because of everything that he did and everything that he recommended. And if he's got immunity, well, then what's the point? Because people want to see his arse thrown in jail. What do you think we could glean from him testifying with immunity?
I don't know that we would get that much more information. We might just at least force him to have to answer difficult questions that he didn't have to answer before, and I think there's new information to confront him with. But in terms of would there be value to the public of getting him on the record, that's arguable, right? Because I think, when you look back at this thing, it really looks so cynical that he, it looks like he thought his funding might have caused this pandemic, whether or not he thought it did definitively or not. And then the next couple of years, they did everything they could to make it seem like it came from another source, because if it came from that source, he knew it would kind of get linked back to him.
Yep.
I mean, that's sort of the worst case scenario. And it looks like, there's at least reasonable inferences that that's what was going on in his head, because they would go crazy and the media would go crazy if you ever said even China or the Wuhan lab. You're questioning the moon landing or something when you say that. So it really makes you think that it was such a soft spot and they would go crazy that you always know where you're hitting the truth with the left is how much they react when you start getting around a sensitive area, akin to voter ID or something. They go crazy. So that this is a soft spot. And, so that's what I think probably was going on with the guy, and plus he loved the fame. But yeah, I don't know. Back to your original question, would the public get any additional valuable information out of it? Probably not, other than just seeing him squirm, which was quite honestly entertaining yesterday, watching him just have to sit there and take it, because the American people had to sit there and take it from him and all these bureaucrats and have their lives turned upside down for things that were not based on science, not based on public health. And they ruined a lot of lives because of their policies.
Well, they did. I mean, I mentioned earlier, it's very cathartic. I find it very cathartic to see him not treated as the scientific god that the Democrats and the media purported him to be. I loved seeing him, frankly, take it in the shorts. And I've said many times, would have far preferred to see him, hauled off in handcuffs, although obviously I knew that wouldn't happen. The Florida Attorney General is now launched an investigation into Fauci at the state level. Do you think that anything will come? Because from what I understand, his pardon was for the federal level, but the Florida Attorney General apparently is thinking that they can get him at the state level. You got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's tough for a couple of reasons. One, like most of what he did that might fall in sort of a criminal type of thing would be false testimony that was federal and things of that nature. The other thing that I think would make it challenging is he would have an argument that he would have immunity similarly to President Trump or other federal officials that are charged in state court for doing things that are within the scope of their employment. So even if he would, the argument would be this should be removed to federal court, I'm immune because all of these things were within the scope of my job as the head of the, infectious diseases or whatever. So therefore, the state can't prosecute me for doing my job. Even if I did my job quite poorly, they still can't. So I think those are sort of the impediments. I think the things they might be looking at, is there some sort of fraud? Did he defraud, Floridians or things of that nature? But I think it would just be a heavy lift, but it doesn't mean that there's not value for them looking into it because they may get some useful information.
All right, very good. Did we miss anything here, Jonathan Fahey?
I don't think so, other than it was quite entertaining watching him. I felt like I could have just watched him all day long yesterday, having to just sit there and listen to people, ask him questions that he couldn't answer.
So Sam seems to think that they could have been harder on him. I think they were pretty hard, but I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I think in hindsight, because I was thinking it would have been, looking at what things would be fun to ask him questions, I think they could have been tougher. I would have liked to really hammer hard on all of the extra activities he was involved in. He's throwing out pitches at the Washington Nationals game when my kids weren't even allowed to play Little League baseball. He's doing, I wish they just hammered, gone through some of those diary entries.
Well, and okay, so real quickly, Jonathan, I should have asked this and I didn't. So, and by the way, that was not a pitch. I'm just telling you, that was not a first pitch. That thing was the worst pitch ever. But remember that part of this conversation is the fact that the accusation is that Anthony Fauci used government employees and government resources to try to get him prizes from the scientific community. And so that might be an avenue for them to go get him, because the pardon, if I'm explaining this correctly, the pardon was for anything that he did as the head of his agency, NIH or whatever you call it. And so, but this was outside of that scope. He was using his employees and government resources to try to get this $1 million prize as somebody who is a leader in the scientific community. And he got $1 million for it.
Yeah, that was actually an interesting takeaway that I don't know that I knew that or knew much about it beforehand. And that's something that's actually a good point you made, that you could say, well, that's outside of the, he's immune for what basically is within the scope of his job. But this is outside of the scope when you're advocating for an outside award and then you abusing your authority by having an underling write something on your behalf so you could financially benefit. So I think that, arguably defrauding the people that you got the award from, because if you're having recommendations that were not authentic, but they were people that were coerced into doing so as part of their employment, it could be an argument that kind of gets outside of it. He would still argue it's within it, but I think that's actually interesting and really is nefarious if true, that during the pandemic or shortly after it, he's trying to make money off of this, which is just really, it just seems awful when you think about it.
All right, very good. Yeah, that was what was it called? The Dan David Prize of $1 million. And so, I made the I made the comparison earlier. This might be trying to, get Al Capone with tax evasion. However, if they can make a case for this, then I think that they should go after him for this. And we'll have to see because Rand Paul and Ted Cruz both were talking about this. So we'll see if that's an avenue to get Fauci. All right. Always great to have you on. Jonathan Fahey, how can people follow you on X?
On John for Fairfax.
All right. And we'll talk to you again soon, 6:57. Joan's got the news at 7 o'clock. Joan.
Yeah, I've got First Lady Melania Trump's announcement this morning, and it's garnering a lot of praise. It's coming up at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories in a late evening announcement. The Senate Judiciary Committee chose to postpone today's vote on Todd Blanche's nomination for Attorney General. It comes after holdout Republicans John Cornyn and Tom Tillis indicated they would not support his nomination.
Where you are right now, you are not yet ready to vote in favor of Todd Blanche's nomination.
And the vote that time has not yet occurred.
That is Cornyn there saying he wants the Department of Justice to provide written assurances on the Trump IRS settlement. Now, neither Cornyn nor Tillis are returning to Congress next year. Tennessee is one of 5 states that have been selected to potentially accept nuclear waste from around the country in exchange for federal assistance developing nuclear energy. Channel 4's Tracy Cornyn.
Storage sites, also referred to as campuses, could be built here, and they could attract up to $50 billion in private investment, which could lead to billions of dollars for the state. These campuses could also create thousands of new jobs.
Tennessee, of course, is home to Oak Ridge National Laboratory, which enriched uranium during World War II. 5 Ukrainian and Russian children who were separated from their families during the 4-year-old war have been reunited with their own families, thanks to our First Lady Melania Trump.
I completed the 4th reunification of Ukrainian and Russian children with their families. As you can imagine, this is not an easy feat, but I applaud leadership from both nations in working with my representative and me to bring love and safety back to each individual who has been displaced as a result of this horrible war.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Thousands of Ukrainian children have been taken from their homes, orphanages, and boarding schools to Russia since Moscow launched its first full-scale invasion in February of 2022. Market numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And stocks really fell yesterday, sharply falling 2% on the Dow. It fell more than 1,100 points. Right now, the Dow futures are plus 273, so we'll gain some of that back, looks like. NASDAQ futures, they're plus 398. S&P futures are up 49 points. That's the latest news, traffic, and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News. Okay, watch it in Jolton on 24 westbound side before Whites Creek Pike. You've got a crash that takes out the right lane. One in Antioch as well on Old Hickory Boulevard at Logistics Way. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.708 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Hope you are doing well, and welcome on in. It is Thursday, July 30th, and hope you're doing well. All right, so Joan, we had a Daily Dan poll on whether or not we should allow other states to dump their nuclear waste into the state of Tennessee, part of the news cycle this morning. I did a whole big segment on that earlier because a lot of people, judging from the super text line, are against it. Now, as I pointed out in the piece that I did earlier, we're already doing this. So this would be like a massive expansion of kind of like what we're already doing. But, you know, the bottom line is a lot of people are for it. A lot of people are against it. So what does the super text poll say, or the YouTube Daily Dan poll say?
Pretty split. 51% say yes, they would be okay with Tennessee storing nuclear waste.
Yeah. You know, my worry, of course, is that it would be done, you know, in a really, insufficient fashion.
Haphazardly?
Hazardly. Like, we wouldn't store it correctly. And so, but I went through the whole thing. Maybe I'll revisit that topic here in a little bit. But as long as we do it safely, the problem is, do you trust us to do it safely? And is it worth the risk at $50 billion? And that $50 billion would, of course, pay for the infrastructure to store said nuclear waste. But it would also help us to develop nuclear energy moving forward as well. So, you know, very controversial. And we'll see if we can get Monty Fritz on. He's been trying to call him, and he's either avoiding my calls or he's, busy campaigning because he's, as we all know, running for governor. So anyway, we'll see if we can get Monty on. Joan, yes or no? And Sam, you can, I only want a yes or a no, okay?
Yeah.
Is Zoran Mamdani the most divisive person in America right now? It's a tough one, isn't it? I asked myself the same question. And I was like, self, how do you feel about this? Sam, what do you say? Most divisive person in America today?
No.
Okay.
Who would you... I'm sorry.
Who would you say, Sam? Because you got Hassan Piker, you've got Abdul El Sayed running for the Senate. I mean, you've got people like Nick Fuentes. But here's the reason why I could make the argument that Mamdani is the most divisive. He's also one of the most dangerous because he is in a position to really further influence the Democrat Party and pull them even more to the left in communism. And some of the things that he's doing, he is literally putting people at risk. You know, you heard, and I've got some video here, Sam. One of the things that he did this week, it's almost like every single day he's doing something more heinous than the previous day. So, for example, and this was earlier in the week, and I'm acknowledging this story is a couple of days old, but he published the names and addresses of people in New York who have second homes worth over $5 million. And so essentially what he's doing is he is shaming their wealth, and others could say that he's putting out literally a hit list.
The list of nearly 1 million names and addresses includes several A-list New Yorkers like director Woody Allen, longtime Vogue editor Anna Wintour, and actress Cynthia Nixon. a loyal Mamdani supporter. But it also includes the home of city councilwoman Gail Brewer, who has lived full-time at the address for more than 20 years. She suggested that, quote, this whole list must be messed up. City Hall says the database covers non-primary residences valued at more than $1 million and is part of the city's efforts to enforce the new tax.
So one of the things, and listen, we all know about the left. We all know that they promote violence. We all know that they support assassination culture. And Zoran Mamdani, he's been castigating people with wealth for a long time. That's part of what his campaign running for mayor was based on, was hatred for people who have been successful. And he's also been taunting people with means in the state of New York. One of the things that he did was he said, hey, you people with a second home and so forth, you've got mail. Keep an eye on your mailbox. So basically, he has been demonizing these people. He knows what his party stands for. He knows what his followers stand for, and that, yes, is violence.
That's doxing. I mean, that's
it is absolutely doxing. Name
Yeah.
and address. And we've been demonizing you, and my side has been demonizing you for years, and it is getting even worse. It was in New York where the United Healthcare CEO was gunned down.
Yep.
We all know what happened to Charlie Kirk. I mean, I don't need to go on. We all know what the left is capable of. And yeah, he has been, number one, taunting and doxing these impacted homeowners. But number two, remember, this is supposed to be for second homes where the owners don't actually live in the homes. Well, some people that have been included on this massive list that has been published by his government, they're like, this has been our main home for like 25 years. So the list is actually wrong as well. And you have, and you just heard in that one soundbite, you have people who are celebrities who are saying, what the F, dude? We supported you.
The mayor argues the money will help pay for things like parks, libraries, and schools. But critics say the city has crossed a line, accusing the administration of breaching the privacy of thousands of property owners in the name of tax collection. The move follows a widely panned ex-post by the mayor in which he put wealthy residents on notice, writing in part, quote, if you have a second home in New York City worth more than $5 million, check your mailbox when you're back in the 5 boroughs because you've got mail. The tax is expected to generate hundreds of millions of dollars each year, though some city officials believe that actual revenue could be significantly lower than the mayor's projections.
So there you go. People in New York, it's fascinating, folks on the left. They, because people are leaving New York and businesses are leaving New York. We've been talking about that. Mamdani doesn't care. The Democrats simply do not care. And that's why I think that Mamdani is so divisive. That's why I believe that Mamdani is so dangerous, because this new breed of Democrats where they're communists, they are so incredibly in your face. And they're okay with killing. They're okay with violence. And I know that sounds like I'm just, blowing a bunch of rhetoric around, but it's true. You folks remember the celebrations when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. You remember the celebrations and the justifications when the health insurance CEO was gunned down in the city of New York. And as I said, Mamdani has been demonizing people with means and success for a long time. This is so on brand for Mamdani. Now, is it a hit list? I could very easily make the argument that it is. Is it doxing? Abso-flippin-lutely. Got a little bit more on Mamdani coming up. It is 7:16. Time to check the roads on WTN.
Jolton, 24 westbound before White's. I'm Christy O'Brien.
As far as your weather goes, it's going to be mostly sunny today, less humid, and a high of 89. Appreciate you listening to Super Talk 99.7. One of the things talking about Mamdani, then we'll move on from this to another Mamdani story. But Council Minority Leader David Carr, a Republican out of Staten Island. It is a reckless and foolish move, especially considering there are potentially thousands of properties on this list that do not qualify as second homes or whose owners will successfully dispute their inclusion. And by the way, this guy's own home was on the list as well. So he's a little ticked. And so now you do have people talking about how there will be outrage over this, and there will be from the right, but not from the left. He's appealing to his base. Again, he is appealing to the very confrontational, anti-American, pro-violence Democrat socialists. That is what they are. He's appealing to the AOC wing, now known as the Mamdani wing of the Democrat Party. So you have that. And in the city, again, the city of New York might see an exodus of millionaires and billionaires and jobs and so forth. But again, they don't care because they're all about eat the rich. Meantime, Mamdani is also getting ready to open those city-run grocery stores.
Here's how it will work. Once a month, our 5 city-run grocery stores will set prices for this core set of goods at 30% below typical retail prices. No exceptions, no gimmicks. The savings will last for the entire month. That means no weekly fluctuations nor sticker shock at the checkout line.
So people, of course, losing their ever-loving minds over this. You're talking about meat, produce, pasta, bread, yogurt, butter, nuts, rice, and beans. And bottom line is, and they're going to sell other stuff at regular market prices, going to be one in each of the 5 boroughs. So now there are lawsuits that are happening. And you do have all of these foreign-owned businesses, all of these foreign-owned stores that are saying this is going to create unfair competition. And you're talking about, I don't know if you folks have been to New York. Joan, you've been to you've been to New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know these bodegas, right?
Oh, yeah.
So oftentimes these bodegas, they are owned and run by, foreigners. I mean, that's what bodegas are, and they're famous for being owned by foreigners. And so in this particular lawsuit, they call them the Multicultural Business Coalition. And, you've got people that are Asian, African, Caribbean, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, and Jewish owned. And they're all saying, no, we're going to end up getting screwed in all of this. And I think that, the bottom line is they are right. And so what's going to happen is these stores quite possibly may end up going out of business. And so the city will lose that tax revenue. Plus, of course, those people will lose their jobs as well. And so people are pointing out that obviously this has not worked in other places. Like, for example, this store, government-run store in Kansas City.
Ron Mamdani, as he pushes for government-run grocery stores in New York City, a similar project underway in the Midwest is not doing so well. You can see there on your screen.
I walked in there, I'm pretty sure you walked in there. There's no meat, there's no vegetables, there's no nothing. Is anything can be done?
I used to come here and I used to walk here. And then after a while, it's like, wow, I can't get what I need here.
Yep. And
The list of nearly a million.
So people are really angry about it, and they're in New York. And again, other people are very excited too. So we do have an update on Mamdani and 9/11. Now, we've been telling you about how the mayor of New York, he is bound and determined to go to the 9/11 ceremonies. And despite the fact clearly that Zoran Mamdani is not wanted, we are going to talk about that straight ahead. It is 7:21 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Joan has the news coming up at 7:30. Joan.
Yeah, why some of our U.S. troops may soon be told to leave their phones behind when they go over to the Middle East. We've got that story coming up here at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
WTN. 7:21 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7. Okay, so this is interesting. Text me, who do you believe is the most divisive American today? Because people are saying, oh man, there's no way. It's not Mamdani. You know who it is? Barack Hussein Obama.
So does divisive have to have a negative connotation?
That's a great question, Joan.
So
I
here's
don't
why
know.
I ask.
What do you think?
I personally believe that Donald Trump is the most divisive person.
But not in a bad way.
But not in a bad way.
Right.
Wherever he stands, there's going to be people who love him. But the other side is whatever he says, whatever he does, they're going to hate it. They're going to decide whatever that he said, they'll do the opposite. I think that kind of divisiveness, it's not a negative connotation, but he divides people right down a line. And it's so clear, like that line is so clear.
2609. By the way, first time texter. It's you, Mandis, you establishment shill. Who didn't know? That's a first time texter.
Wow.
Well done, first time texter. 5129 says Chris Hand and the Amish. I still don't understand what the hell happened on the Hand show with that whole Amish thing. And I don't want to revisit it, but whatever. Just so we're clear, I love the Amish, even if they can't listen to me on the radio, because they build great furniture. Anyway, so let me know, 615-737-9986. Let me know who you believe is the most divisive and why. 2609, I like that you said that I'm an establishment shill. I'm not, but at least you gave me a reason. All right, the Generator Supercenter, one of your biggest priorities in life is to protect your family. And if the power goes out in your neighborhood, you need to get it back on quickly. You need the Generator Supercenter. Now, you've seen the horror stories of power being out for days or weeks at a time. The Generator Supercenter does provide backup home standby generators at a terrific price and outstanding customer service. Now, as a matter of fact, go to their website right now, the Generator Supercenter. Go to their website, find out how you can save $500. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com. See how you can get started with your backup home standby generator. They do feature turnkey installation, certified plumbers and electricians, and service after the install, and a whole lot more. So the power goes out in your neighborhood. You've got a backup power generator, so your power goes right back on. At the Generator Supercenter, they also have their generators made right here in America. So call them, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, and again, they'll get you started. 615-879-1952, 615-879-1952. Don't forget to check out their website, Generator Supercenter of Nashville.com, to see how you can save $500.
Good morning, 7:30 now, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Your phone may have pinged for an Amber Alert late yesterday afternoon. That was for a 1-year-old Franklin County girl who had gone missing with her mother. WSMV4's Sarah Allen reports the pair were eventually found in Georgia.
Police say it all started here this morning at the Franklin County Judicial Center. Casey and Lily were expected in court around 10 a.m., and that's when they fled, sparking the multi-agency search.
It's my understanding that she was in possession of Lily and had custody of Lily this morning.
However, according to the TBI alert at the time the Amber Alert was issued later Wednesday evening, Casey no longer was in legal custody of her daughter.
Yeah, that mother, Casey Hill, had already had warrants for aggravated kidnapping, child endangerment, and felony evading. Now she's facing new charges. The sheriff says that her car was tracked to Cartersville, Georgia by a license plate reader. A report from Fox News says that some U.S. troops deployed to the Middle East may soon be ordered to surrender their cell phones because Iran is using social media posts to target the U.S. CENTCOM Commander Admiral Brad Cooper pointing to footage posted online during the July 17th Iranian attack on a U.S. airbase in which 2 of our military members were killed. That footage was captured using a service member's Meta smart glasses. It showed troops running for shelter and where they were evacuated. Cooper says without that info, Iran may not be able to tell if its weapons miss, if they strike an empty area, or if they're hit by or if they do hit a populated area. That is the latest news, traffic and weather. Next, I'm Joan Jones, WTN.
Hey, Joan,
News.
I got a story about those glasses.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah, coming up.
Okay, cool.
All right, Mark Spain Real Estate. Dan Mandis here for Mark Spain Real Estate. If you are stuck in a home that you can't sell, call my friends at Mark Spain. If your open houses are being ignored, again, call Mark Spain. If you're tired of making costly repairs while your home goes unsold, call Mark Spain. I've got a couple of homes in my neighborhood that have been on the market for, it's like been a long time, like months on end. I feel like I want to walk up to them and just tell them, hey, listen, Mark Spain, with their guaranteed offer, they can get you out of your home quickly. So listen, with their guaranteed offer, you're going to get out of that home fast and, yes, with maximum profit as well. Mark Spain Real Estate, they've got over 72,000 clients and is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America. They've got over 13,000 five-star reviews. And no, they can't be wrong. Mark Spain Real Estate is the company I recommend for selling your home. So call them right now and get out of your home fast and move on to the next chapter in your life. That phone number, 855-299-SOLD, 855-299-SOLD. Go to markspain.com to get that guaranteed offer on your home today. That's markspain.com and start packing.
24 West in Jolton. It's a crash and overturned vehicle that has the right shoulder blocked off just before Whites Creek Pike. Now in Hermitage on 40 westbound at Stewart's Ferry Pike, it's an accident that takes 2 left lanes out. Murfreesboro, I-840 northbound at Jefferson Pike, it's police activity. There's just 1 lane available to traffic there. An accident in Antioch on Old Hickory Boulevard at Logistics Way. And on Vietnam Veterans Boulevard in Hendersonville, the westbound lanes, there's a tractor trailer there that's jackknifed. The right lane is blocked off. This is right at Main Street. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$7:38 Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, folks. Hope you are doing well. And welcome on into Nashville's Morning News. All right, so this is funny, Joan. So I had asked on the Super Text line, okay, so who do you think is the most divisive person in America today?
Yeah.
And a first-time texter said, it's you, Mandis, you establishment shill. It was Sam.
That.
It was Sam. Sam texted in and called me an establishment shill.
We like to do a little trolling. Just a little trolling here.
No, it was funny. It was funny. When he told me that during the break, I laughed my arse off. Do you know what the first ever text we received? Because I think I'm the one that had this like first on the day that we launched the Super Text line.
Yeah.
So the first one that we ever got was Pamela Furr in the newsroom texting me that I'm a loser. I think that's what it was. The first, and that pretty much set the tone for the entire thing, didn't it?
See, the funny part, it's not the first time I've texted in. I guess someone deleted my first message. You wanted to know how far the reach was, and if you've never texted in, and you're a first time texter, go ahead and text in, say good morning. And so I said, texted in, good morning, and F you.
Oh, very good. Well, anyway, whatever.
I also received a text during that exchange, and I can't believe I didn't think of this myself. Will you stop playing with your microphone?
My bad.
I got a text that said that Jesus Christ is the most divisive person in history.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
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 We love him. Other people don't.
Yep.
600 years later, there was a whole religion established to pervert, his whole existence. Just saying.
That text, by the way, came from Chris Hand.
Did it really?
Yeah.
So the other, it's about I don't know when it was, a couple weeks ago, I guess. But I'm talking to a guy, and yes, it was at Starbucks.
Oh gosh, I thought you gave that up for the bad habit it is.
You know what? I fell off the wagon.
Ugh.
I know, I'm terrible. But anyway, I'm talking to a guy, and I didn't say anything like bad.
Yeah.
The fact that that's got to be my intro to the topic.
Yeah.
But I'm talking to him, and he knew who I was, and he said hi and whatever. And I didn't realize, but he was taping me with his glasses.
With the meta glasses?
With the meta glasses, whatever they are. I guess there's different versions.
Yeah.
But he didn't tell me that he was taping. Now, again, I didn't say anything like wrong. I mean, it was nothing that I wouldn't say on the air or that I wouldn't want on the front page of the New York Times, but because he was a stranger. So have you found, Sam, do you guys just trust people less?
Oh, yeah.
These days?
Yeah. Well,
like I can't trust anybody. And by the way, our phones have recording devices as well. And so anybody could record us at any time saying whatever. I mean, they could even, if I'm talking to my wife and we're at a restaurant and we're talking about whatever, somebody could start taping on their glasses and perhaps pick up the conversation. It's just frustrating.
First of all, how did you know this guy was taping you, and did he post it somewhere?
No, he didn't. And he told me.
He told you. Okay.
Yeah, because I saw it was like a light or something on the frames.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so it was sort of like obscured, but then I noticed it. And so I said, "Are you recording?" And he said, "Oh yeah, I record everything." And I'm like, "Oh Jesus!" So, but again, I didn't say anything. But your mind immediately goes to, "Oh, what did I say?"
Yeah, sure.
That guy has probably seen some crazy stuff, and he didn't have the glasses when he saw the crazy stuff happen. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this," and people are like, "No, you're right. Whatever the story was, we're not going to believe you." So now he's just walking around paranoid, having to constantly record his daily routine.
Yeah.
On the off chance something crazy happens, he can prove it.
I mean, what's sad is you are always now sort of on edge. Like, you don't know what you can say to strangers or friends.
Yeah.
Or people that you know that you may or may not trust. Do you know what I mean? It makes it harder to have private conversations. Unless you're like in your home or maybe in your car, but I mean, we're at the point now, obviously, where anything you say anywhere is picked up by your own phone, and then suddenly, you're getting ads on Facebook for things that you may have been talking about. That just happened to Amy and I the other day. I forget what we were talking about. We were talking about something, and everybody's got these stories where, you're talking about, oh, what do we need? And it was, I don't know, maybe a pool filter or something. And then all of a sudden, randomly, we're getting bombarded with pool filter, ads on Facebook.
Yes.
And it's like we were talking in our living room.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. The point is, those glasses are scary because you can't conceal the little light that is an indicator. Somehow, I Googled it real quick. You can. So does it make you, talking about, feeling less safe, does it make you feel less safe when you're out and about and having private conversations with your husband or friends?
Yeah.
Well, I think you have to assume that, I think you just have to live life assuming that you're always being recorded doing something in some manner, audio, video, whatever.
And that's true. That is true. I mean, so people are concerned about flock cameras, and I believe that they should be. But what about these glasses? What about the recording devices on your phone where people could be recording you anywhere, anytime?
Yep.
It's just, unfortunately,
GoPros. I mean.
The GoPros.
Yeah. They're concealable.
Well, I would take it, we're always being recorded. There's always going to be, possibly some footprint of you participating in some way in public life. Who has the right to that information and that data? Well, if it's just somebody with their glasses, Facebook has a share on it, but the privacy restrictions are kind of through the roof. And, the user who recorded it holds that data, unlike the flock cameras where everything is stored in a system that, in theory, you could sell that data to. I think for the most part, most people would say they don't conduct their public life in a way that they would necessarily be embarrassed by their day-to-day activities being recorded and posted by somebody.
No. I mean, one guy, Sally, says, Dan, you silly man, the computers and the TVs are listening. You're always being watched by God. Thank you, 7333.
That's true.
Always being watched by God and Joan. She knows everything.
There's a story out that I had yesterday, and I didn't do the story, and I'm not sure why. But a guy goes to, it's something I saw on Twitter. Guy goes to Walmart, buys a new TV. It's a Vizio TV, and he brings it home. Learns that you have to log into a Walmart account in order to even turn the TV on.
Yeah.
Because Walmart bought Vizio. Did I do this story? Walmart bought Vizio, and Vizio now requires you to log into your social media. They use all that cross information, what you're watching, what you're doing on social media, what you listen to on Spotify. They use all of that information. They're collecting all of that now and selling it.
Amazon's worse. The Fire TVs are even worse about it. You have to sign into your Amazon Prime account in order to power it on.
We've got those.
Roku hit a sweet spot. You create a Roku account specific to the, software on the TV, and that's it. Then you just log into the apps individually.
Well, so the bottom line these days is you go outside, per the Supreme Court, you don't have a right to privacy. The flock cameras, that's part of that discussion.
Yeah.
But even inside our homes these days, you're not safe from the TVs and from the computers and from all of these other, I don't know,
So-
does my Keurig listen?
Exactly. So
My Keurig's the first thing I go to every single morning.
He cheats on me with Starbucks.
You know what? The morale of this entire conversation is I drink a heck of a lot of coffee.
yes, it is.
Anyway, go ahead, Joan.
Yeah. So if you're someone like my husband would say, I hate technology, and he would rather do without a phone, a TV, any listening device, whatever, everything, like have a house with nothing in it. That would be his preferred mode of living.
The millennials, there's some studies that have kind of come out and said this, but the late generation millennials are claiming to have had the best childhood. We had the classical education and upbringing, and then this just enough technology to communicate with people around the world, but it didn't consume our daily lives.
And it didn't surveil you.
Yeah, it didn't have, remember you just go buy a TV and then you just plugged in, to the inputs what you wanted to play on the TV.
Yes.
You didn't have to deal with ads constantly scrolling across. Like, there was a level of social media and connection to, a broader spectrum of communication with people, but it wasn't all consuming. It was a limited portion of your day. It wasn't every waking moment of it.
You're right. And the problem is it's hard to get away from all of that. It's hard to get away from being recorded. It's hard to get away from the electronics. And, even if I decided, okay, I'm going to unplug and no phone and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter, because the second you walk outside, you're being recorded, or you have the possibility that somebody is recording you. So bottom line is, don't say or do anything that, again, you wouldn't want on, Facebook or the front page of the LA Times and all of those kinds of things. I keep threatening. Amy and I have been getting into a bit of a skirmish.
Oh,
I don't mean to air my dirty laundry, but I don't want to be so tied to my phone. And so I keep wanting to leave my phone in the car when we go places. And she is insistent. First of all, she thinks I'm 12. She's like, what if we get separated and you don't have your phone?
Oh, this is me and my husband. Oh my gosh.
And it's like, I would do what all 12-year-olds do. I'd go and have them page you on the intercom. and meet me at customer service. Or I'd walk out to the car and I would wait for you there. I mean, it's not that hard.
Yeah.
But she's like, well, what if somebody calls? It's like, nobody ever calls me, like ever. And maybe that's
Do you feel compelled to call him this afternoon like I do, Sam?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe that's kind of an indication as to my life. Nobody calls me. It's like, gee, I wonder why that is.
They make those lock boxes that you can, get time away from your phone with.
I don't need a lockbox. I leave it in the car. I put it under the seat. And, what if somebody texts you? Okay, somebody texts me. Then they're not going to get a response for like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Big deal. You know what I mean? So the debate in my house is me wanting to leave my... Okay, so now Pamela Furr is calling me. Now everybody that I know is going to start calling me because I said that nobody calls me. Anyway, so that is the latest skirmish in the Mandis house. You know what? I promised to do this Mamdani stuff.
Yeah.
So we've been talking over the last couple of days about how he is planning on going to the 9/11 memorial. They do it every year. And he, as a sympathizer to terrorists, some would say he himself is a terrorist. Well, he is insisting that he's going to go.
People who are survivors of 9/11 are calling on you not to go to 9/11 memorial services. I wonder how you feel about the fact that they're trying to keep you away.
I will proudly honor the families, the survivors, the first responders forever impacted by that horrific terror attack by standing alongside them
at this year's 9/11 commemoration, reaffirming that we will never forget the solemn day felt by all of us who call this city home, and frankly, by all of us who call this country home.
So, of course, I came up with the. Some people actually got mad at me for saying it, but what I said was, well, I wonder if he's actually going to be there for the families of the terrorists, right? He is a. In my opinion, Mamdani is a sympathizer to terrorists, and I've got receipts, and that is coming up. But I do want to get through the rest of this. Donald Trump was asked about all of this, and this is what the president said.
Well, I think they're having a hard time with Mamdani. The people having to do with anybody having to do with 9/11 right now, on the victim side, and there are a lot of them, they're very unhappy with what's going on in New York, and they're very unhappy with the mayor. I understand that.
And so, the part about Mamdani and how he openly defended 9/11 terrorists, that is true. He posted back in 2015 about the FBI surveillance of Anwar al-Awlaki, the guy who had contact with 9/11 hijackers. He was one of al-Qaeda's biggest recruiters and propagandists. And Mamdani supported him and defended him. And the whole part about, remember the audio of and the video of, I think I've got it here. Hold on. This is the debate about Mamdani and whether or not he is a supporter of terrorism.
The families are calling out this mayor over his controversial record and his ties to Islamic extremists, like the imam who testified on behalf of the World Trade Center bombers. He even defended a terrorist in a 2015 post, suggesting FBI surveillance is what pushed him towards al-Qaeda. It's part of a longer history of Mamdani downplaying 9/11 and making it about himself.
I want to use this moment to speak to the Muslims of New York City. I want to speak to the memory of my aunt.
Remember this? Hold back tears.
Who stopped taking the subway after September 11th because she did not feel safe in her hijab. Growing up in the shadow of 9/11, I have known what it means to live with an undercurrent of suspicion. I will always remember the disdain I faced, the way my name could immediately become Muhammad.
Took me a minute to realize he was saying Muhammad, but I don't know what.
Well, Dan, he has to honor the pronunciation and the name of the great prophet.
Is that what that was?
Muhammad.
And by the way, that whole thing about his aunt turned out to be a lie.
100% false.
So anyway, Anwar al-Awlaki is the terrorist that they were talking about, how he defended him. Basically said, maybe it was the FBI surveilling him as to why he turned to radical Islamic terrorism. He initially refused to condemn Hamas after they killed over 1,200 Jews. Maybe you remember that, maybe you don't. He also defended the phrase, from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. He's defended that phrase a number of different times. And he's also appeared in mosques where they talk about killing the infidels. He campaigned with Hassan Piker. Good friends they are, as a matter of fact. And Piker has said that America deserved 9/11. So, I can't imagine why the families of 9/11 might have a problem with Zoran Mamdani. And I wouldn't want him there either. But he's going to go, knowing that he's not wanted. But again, this is, I think, one of the tenets of the DSA is that they are purposely confrontational. It is, simply put, part of their DNA. Joan, what's coming up in the news at 8?
Yeah, coming up, you may find yourself shopping this weekend. We'll tell you why. Coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Thank you, Joan. It's 7:55. Dan Mandis here. My friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, they're in the middle of their back-to-school drive for kids heading back to school. That's right. Now, if you give, they will give you $50 off any service. That's right. So right now, through the beginning of August, so a couple more days, you can drop off pens and pencils and notebooks and any kind of school supply at their shop in Lebanon, or this weekend at the Mount Juliet Chamber of Commerce. Check out all the details at their website, busybeehvac.com. And by the way, while you're there, check out great deals on plumbing, HVAC, and indoor air quality. And of course, the Beehive Club is always a great option for keeping your HVAC maintained over the long run. So you're actually saving money by keeping your unit running at peak efficiency for maximum comfort. You buy a membership this month, you get a free one to give to a friend. Find them online, busybeehvac.com. Call them, tell them Dan told you to reach out, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock now. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. It has been more than a month since a hit-and-run driver injured 4 pedestrians in Nashville. Now, Metro Nashville police have announced the arrest of that driver, Felipe Alvarado Hernandez, arrested yesterday at his home in Antioch. That's where police spotted the truck that was used in the incident. Police say that he faces 21 charges, including reckless endangerment, driving on a revoked license, and more. Metro police say 4 pedestrians were injured, including one who's still hospitalized at the Vanderbilt University Medical Center burn unit for treatment. The Senate Judiciary Committee has been expected to vote today on Todd Blanche's nomination to be Attorney General, but that's not going to happen. ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy explains.
Where you are right now, you are not yet ready to vote in favor of Todd Blanche's nomination.
Right. And the vote hasn't, that time has not yet occurred.
That's not an explanation, but John Cornyn saying he will not vote for Blanche because President Trump has failed to convince him that his IRS deal is complete. Well, we're hearing from the young lifeguard who helped to save a 10-year-old boy during that heart-stopping rescue in Santa Cruz, California. Here's ABC's Hannah Battah on that.
16-year-old Ryder Williams says, I'm grateful to have had the opportunity to return the child to his family safely. This is my job, and I love what I do.
I think he probably, from what I gathered, he assumed he was going to die. He was drowning. He knew he was drowning. He cannot express sufficient gratitude. There's nothing more valuable to me than my children.
President Trump has invited that lifeguard and the kid that he saved to the White House. And you may find yourself shopping this weekend. It's Tennessee's annual sales tax holiday. Starts tomorrow. It runs through Sunday. You can buy clothing, school supplies, and computers without paying sales tax. But there are some rules, including that the clothing must be things like shirts, pants, socks, shoes, and dresses that cost $100 or less. There are more rules around this, too, and I'm posting a story to my X account, so you can check it out. Find me there at Joan Jones WTN. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. After a trouncing on Wall Street yesterday, we've got futures in the plus category. The Dow futures right now up 198. The NASDAQ futures gaining 452. S&P futures are plus 45. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Matt Murphy.
It's Dan Mandis from Super Talk 99.7 WTN and Nashville's Morning News. I'm here with Chris from USS, United Structural Systems. He's checking out my basement, my foundation, my crawl space to see if there's anything wrong. Fingers crossed. All right, so there's good news and there's bad news. The bad news is we found some cracks in my basement wall. The good news, I've got Chris here who's going to walk me through the next steps.
Yes, so unfortunately, your house has been subject to the pressure of the dirt. The hydrostatic pressure, heavy dirt pushes on foundation walls, and you got a little bit of what we call bowing. So that wall is pushed in a little bit. We have a lifetime warranty solution for that. So we install, usually in a day or two, this can be done in most situations. We install carbon fiber straps, which keep the wall from moving inward at any point in the future. It's a lifetime warranty for anybody that ever owns this house. So it's a quick and routine thing that we do, but it yields some long-lasting benefits.
It's a great selling point if you want to sell your house.
Absolutely. Good thing about our warranties is they're not only transferable, like the contract says, they're automatically transferred when you sell your house. So you don't have to sign any paperwork or even send us an email saying that you sold your house. Warranty would transfer to the next owner.
Got to watch it on 24, the westbound lanes in Joelton. It's an overturned truck, and it's on the right shoulder now. It's before Whites Creek Pike, and it's jammed up in that area. Also jammed on 40 westbound in Hermitage. Westbound side before Stewart's Ferry Pike, there's a crash. It's now been pushed to the HOV lane. That is blocked off. You may still only have 2 lanes of traffic through the 2 lanes of traffic on the right that get through that. Now, Talbot's Corner, 65 south at Trinity Lane. Watch for a crash as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
.807, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN, 615-737-9986. Super Text line is open, very active today. Thank you very much. It does indeed, as Joan, helps the host ego when we get a lot of feedback from the folks on the Super Text line. One of the things that I love about election time is that I get to meet a lot of really cool conservatives who are running for office. And I have one in the studio right now, Butch Baker is joining me here in studio. And Butch, you are running, of course, in the primary for a state senate against Mark Pody, the 17th district. Appreciate you being here, Butch.
Thank you for having me, Dan. Appreciate it.
So, number one, you'll love this. He brought some swag, so we very much appreciate it. Sam and Joan, everybody's got a shirt and everybody's got a hat, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
So, Butch, let's talk about you. First of all, off the air, we were talking about a really interesting past where I guess you were trained at Quantico, and,
right.
and then you ended up somehow in the music business.
Yeah, I went to Tennessee Military Institute the last year it was military. Got out of there, went to UTC, and I was at ROTC there. I got appointed to the West Point and also the Air Force Academy, and the Marines offered me OCS, so I went to OCS with the Marine Corps.
Now, help me out here. What is OCS?
Officer Candidate School.
Got it. Okay.
So, and it was one of the best things, Dan, I've ever done in my life, and I'm proud of it. It was a program where then I went back to college, but in between I had a chance to move to Nashville. So things started happening for me here. So I wound up not accepting the commission. Had I gone in, I'd have been a second lieutenant going through Officer Candidate School. But I'm so glad I did the training. It was an amazing, amazing time in my life, jumping out of helicopters and all the crazy stuff that you wind up doing.
Yeah.
So, but I did not. So I never went on active duty. I suppose I'd been called up pretty quick if we'd had a need for me, and I would have been more than happy to serve.
Any regrets that you pursued music?
Not at all. I mean, I'm one of the few guys that can sit here and say after starting out, sleeping in your car and on people's couches, that the music business actually worked out for me. I got signed as a writer to Aco Froze Music early on, got a record deal, got another record deal, went on the road. I played with everybody from Ray Charles to Garth Brooks and everybody in between.
You look a little bit like a rocker, as a matter of fact. You
Okay.
Yeah, you do. You've got that look about you, which is not a bad thing.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I guess I've been doing this a long time, 40 years in the music business, and then to pivot and to do this. But it felt like the right time in my life to do this.
So real quick, what do you play?
I hold a guitar.
I'm
a really good guitar holder. My instrument has always been my voice, and sang jingles and demos. I started out as a demo singer, sang literally thousands of songs before they became hits.
Yeah.
So I got to do that, but now my day job has been I work as a publisher, so we have writers in our company, and our office is in Berry Hill.
It sounds like you kind of got it going on. Why do you want to be a state senator?
Felt like it was the right time for me to do it, and Mark Pody told me he was not going to run, which really helped me get my mind around it. He told all of us he wasn't going to run, even to the point where he said he burned all his campaign stuff in the backyard. I said, well, that sounds kind of final. And I'd been asked to consider running before, but I didn't think it was the right time. And with him telling me that, then I felt like, okay, this is the right time to think about doing this. And so I met with everybody and thought about it, prayed hard about it, prayed with my wife about it, and decided that now was the time to do it. And as soon as I came out and announced, Mark came out right after that and said, I'm running too. So it was a little strange, a little weird, but I like Mark. Mark's a nice man. He's been there for a number of years, 16 years in the Assembly, all told, 9 years in the Senate. That sounds somewhat like a career politician to me. I don't think it's supposed to be a job. I think it's supposed to be an honor.
You're a term limits guy.
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in Butch Baker's world, if it was up to you, how long should people be allowed to serve before they're forced to step down?
Well, I like 2 terms.
Okay.
In any place, I think the first term you're probably getting your feet set and figuring out where you're going to go. And that's not to say that you serve 2 terms and then move into another position or run for some other office. I don't have any aspirations for that. I want to do this job and do it well for 2 terms and then pass it off to somebody else with energy and ready to go.
Butch Baker running for state Senate, 17th District. So let's talk about what would your priorities be for the district? I mean, you're talking about the 17th, so you're talking about some parts of Davidson County, some parts of Wilson County, if I'm not mistaken, right? So
you're exactly right.
You've got some rural areas and some urban areas as well. And by the way, I'm in the 17th District. So what are your priorities for the district?
Well, you and I were talking before it came on the air. I think everybody in 17th is really concerned with how fast we're growing, which impacts our schools, impacts our roads. We need to work with TDOT better.
So I don't know where you live, but my wife...
Gladeville.
You live in Gladeville?
So I live between Mount Juliet.
Yeah. No, I know exactly where Gladeville is. That's where my wife is from.
Okay.
So, So, and I almost said on the radio, what street? And I probably shouldn't do that. But the time it takes to go from, this is like really like Mount Juliet stuff, folks. But the time it takes to get from Division Street up to Providence, I mean, it is like, there are days you're there for 25 minutes.
You're right.
And when you're stuck on Mount Juliet Road, going in that direction, south, I guess it would be, you're just cursing at all the growth. It is very frustrating.
Yeah, it is. And I think we need managed growth, but our county is just, depending on who you talk to, we're the second fastest growing county, or and some people would say the fastest, number 1. So I think we have to have managed growth. At the same time, I'm a pro-ag guy because I came from a little town called Sweetwater, Tennessee in East Tennessee, agricultural community. So I love farmers. I love ag. So we have a mix that we have to find that balance between what works and what doesn't. Now, generational money, when somebody rolls in and offers somebody generational money, they have to probably look at that, of course. Mm-hmm. But and then the last assembly, which Mark was part of, they gave away the management of step systems, which is very concerning there too. He might say that he's very pro-ag and he's wants to slow down growth. At the same time, the assembly just gave away the control of step systems to the state, took it away from the counties. That's 95 counties that don't get to have a really good say in how building and developers come in.
So you live in Mount Juliet, and so you know that Mount Juliet has LPRs and flock cameras and all that. So big topic of conversation on this station, boy. So where do you stand on that?
I think it's concerning, yeah. But I'm also a police chaplain as well for the city of Berry Hill. So and I feel for the job they have to do every day, the men and women out there, first responders, to keep us safe. I think, Dan, I think flock cameras are just like anything else in the hands of the wrong person. It's bad, and could things happen? Absolutely, they could. I know I just I followed Tim Burchett, and I saw Tim came out and said he wants to outlaw them completely. So I think it's a long subject. Could they help? Of course, they could help law enforcement in the right hands. Anything in the wrong hands is always going to turn out bad.
Can you be? I had this. Somebody threw this at me the other day. They said you cannot be pro law enforcement and anti flock cameras.
Mm-hmm. Like I just said, I think anything in the hands of the right person, and I know there's going to be checks and balances with that also. Those guys got a tough job. Anything that might help them catch the bad guys, yes, and keep the public safe. But at the same time, and I've listened to you guys talk about it here, what could happen?
We've been talking about what could happen.
Yeah,
it's a lot of bad things.
Yeah, it could. Yes, it could.
One of the things, and I'm going to jump the traffic real quick, but one of the things that's actually in the news today is this discussion about Tennessee wanting to accept $50 billion. We're going for this contract with the federal government to accept nuclear waste. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask you about that. It's in the news today. I don't know if you have an opinion on that, but we'll talk about that straight ahead. It is 8:17. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. As far as your weather goes, mostly sunny today. Less humidity and a high of 89. Butch Baker is joining us. He is running for State Senate, 17th District. So in the news today, there is word that the state of Tennessee is one of 5 finalists to begin accepting hazardous waste from other states. So with that, $50 billion in infrastructure money and 25,000 jobs, they say, and some other accoutrements. And surprisingly, the audience is like 50-50. Of course, it's Daily Dan poll, so it's not exactly scientific. But where do you stand on that? It's a complicated issue.
It is a complicated issue. And I was listening to you guys talking about it on the way in. I mean, yeah, the money would be great. But it's also very, very concerning anytime you want to bring that in. What does it do in our environment? Where's it going to go? Where are you going to put that? What does that mean for the communities that you bring that into? So I don't think we have enough information on it to make a really good judgment on where that could be. Let's get more information and figure out where it susses out.
One of the things I know people are always talking about, the schools and the challenges that our schools have. Now, luckily in this particular district, at least in Wilson County, we have some pretty darn good schools. And that's one of the reasons why we chose to move our family there in Wilson County. But is that one of your big concerns and priorities is maintaining how the schools are in Wilson County? Do you want to improve them? Talk about that.
Absolutely. Well, my daughter is a teacher there, so she's at Green Hill High School. So I'm a little bit prejudiced when it comes to teachers, and I am a product of public schools. My dad was a Methodist pastor for 47 years, so we bounced around quite a bit. But yeah, 31st in the nation. That's where we rank. Maybe last in spending. So I think we could do better by paying our teachers more. $41,000 is the mean when I was in a forum the other day, which, by the way, Mark was invited to, said he would be there. I was the only Republican that showed up to talk to administrators and teachers. And to find out that the mean for starting pay for teachers is $41,000 a year. You can't do anything, with $41,000 a year. And yet we want to hand off the greatest natural resource of our lives, our kids, to these teachers. So I think we have to support teachers. 31st in the nation is nowhere near where we need to be. We can do better. You're exactly right, Dan. Schools in Mount Juliet, in Lebanon, have improved greatly, but we can do better. It's a major concern of mine.
I'm on your website. It's butchbaker.com, which amazing you actually got that. Yourname.com. That is, I can't even get my name with just a .com.
Yeah.
So protect the Constitution and never alter the Bible. Yeah. Talk about that. That's one of your key issues. It's actually top left.
Well, I just went through this situation where the Methodist Church split. It was very difficult. My dad told me this would happen 40 years ago, and that was hard to see it come down. And the Bible is the Bible. There's many interpretations of the Bible, but we shouldn't interpret the Bible to change our views or our rhetoric. It is what it is. I'm a Christian. Nancy and I go to the Methodist Church in Gladeville. But like I said, my dad was a pastor, so I was raised in Methodist Church. If you don't hear anything else I'm going to say to you today, hear that I am a Christian first. I answer to my God first, and I actually answer to my wife second. Because when he
does she know that?
She knows that. Yeah, she
of course she does.
She and I'm very proud of her. She's in this campaign. She's easily my secret weapon. So, but when God brought us together, He brought us together and made us one. So I answer to her, and then I answer to the people of District 17 after that. And that's not whether they have an R or a D after their name or an I after their name. That's everyone in District 17.
So what are people saying when you travel around the district? What are their biggest concerns?
Well, you and I have already talked about it. The growth is huge.
Yeah.
They're always worried about the roads, what's happening, where the next school is going to be. Opened a school last night in Gladeville. The new elementary school was there for the ribbon cutting. It was amazing, beautiful school. But I think our growth it has got people very, very concerned out in that area. And I understand that. I really do. It's tough. We have a beautiful life out there. It's kind of a mix, and because you live there, between country and city. But I also look, Mount Juliet has just exploded.
Yeah.
Lebanon's next. Does that mean Tucker's Crossroads is next? Does that mean Watertown is next? I don't know. So I think the biggest topic for me is when I go out there. I mean, a huge topic was the ICE detention center there for a little while. Everybody thought that was going to happen. They were very, very worried, very concerned about that. Mark Pody said it was a rumor. Made a video to say, no, don't worry about it. It's a rumor. And less than 24 hours later, both of our mayors came out and said, well, I think it's a little more than a rumor. They've identified a site on 109. It could happen. So, but now we know it's not going to happen. They've moved off of that. And there's places in our state that I think it would really, really help to have that. But Lebanon is not one of them.
No, and I agree. And of course, I live in that area, and people were absolutely freaking out.
Crazy.
So, all right, we've got 60 seconds. Give us your elevator pitch.
I want to be the next state senator in District 17. I want to work really, really hard for everyone there. I think it's time for a change. Mark Pody has had his chance. He's 0-28 in bills he's tried to pass. Hadn't passed a bill there since he's been there. So I think we can do better. If he was a football coach at 0-8 at University of Tennessee, where I went to school, he'd be fired. I'm not saying fire him. I'm just saying I like the job.
Okay, so you said, now this is a silly question from yours truly, but so you said you're a songwriter. Have you written anything that anybody would know? Like somebody...
I've had cuts, but I haven't had a big hit. Dan, I tried, for years and years and years. I beat my head against the wall and tried. Luckily, I was lucky enough to have some cuts, a John Michael Montgomery cut, and that. I probably sang more hits.
Got it.
As a demo singer.
Got it. I was talking to John Rich one time. We did a podcast. You know who John Rich is.
Yeah, absolutely.
He told me one time that after Big and Rich, he had written something like 600 songs.
Yeah, no doubt.
And he says, nobody wanted one of them. Not one. And I can't even, that blows my mind that there are 600 John Rich songs, and I like John Rich a lot.
I do too.
600 songs sitting around waiting to be recorded by somebody. That blows my mind, but that tells you how many songs are out there just, waiting to be picked up by the right artist, and that tells you why it's so difficult to get any songs published these days. It's
really, really, it's a tough thing, and I did the same thing. But I've been around a lot of amazing songwriters. It truly is a gift. Dean Dillon is a personal friend of mine. He wrote like half the number ones on George Strait's projects. They're just, songwriters are a unique breed.
Oh yeah, and y'all don't get nearly the credit that you should.
Go in with nothing, come out and make up something that can change the world. 3 minutes and 15 seconds to make you cry, laugh, think. It's pretty amazing.
Do you have a favorite? What is the one song that you would say is the personification of what a song should be? Do you have that? If you had to pick one song.
One song. Oh, my goodness.
Do you want me to tell you mine? What you think?
What is it?
People are going to laugh at this. Joan, don't laugh at me.
I always laugh at you, Dan.
To me, it's Morgan Wallen, Sand in My Boots. But I'm a big Morgan Wallen fan. So, but I mean, that's got everything, right? It's got storytelling. It's got melody. It's got, just a beautiful sentiment to it as well. So for me, what should a song sound like, and what is the epitome of what a great song is? Sand in My Boots by Morgan Wallen.
Well, I remember the first time I heard I Drive Your Truck, when I heard Lee Bruce, and I did not want to hear that song because I've trucked out, man. I heard all the truck songs I want to hear. I got, Lee Crable was working with me. He said, you got to hear the song. Come up. I said, Lee, I don't want to hear another truck song. He said, come up here and listen to this truck song. After I wiped the tears out of my eyes and I had him play it about 3 or 4 times, it just tore me up. It really moved my needle. A song like God Bless USA. I produced Lee Greenwood's last record, and Lee and I are really, really close friends. Think about what that song did, and he sat there and wrote that song, and what that song has meant to our nation.
Yeah.
And so many people. Songs can change things.
It's like, how do you pick just one song?
It's really, really hard. I probably have favorite songs that nobody will ever hear because I know they're demos, and I'm out there still pitching them, and they're 30 years old to people. It's like somebody called me and go, man, I need a song. I'll say, how old is this song? It's 30 years old. Well, why have I never heard it before?
Yeah.
It's like, well, I don't know, but I'm playing it for you because I believe in it. And if I fall in love with a song, the way I have always been, if I fall in love with a song, I never fall out of it. I always love that song.
Butch Baker, it's butchbaker.com. Good luck in the campaign.
Thank you, sir.
And we got to run. Joan Jones with the news coming up next on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
And coming up after such a big loss on Wall Street yesterday, opening bell is about to ring. We'll check it out as it's happening at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
$8:29, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here for my friends at Window Nation. If you are thinking about replacing your AC, check out your windows first. Drafty windows force your AC to work overtime. New windows from Window Nation, they are going to help you keep your home comfortable and reduces the strain on your HVAC. Now, I love Window Nation. I've got, count them, 4 Window Nation windows in my home. The pros at Window Nation, they can help you get new energy-efficient windows at a great price. You could get 50% off all window styles, 0 down payment as well, and no payments or interest for 2 years. Window Nation. Why do I love Window Nation? My experience with Window Nation, I've had a couple of different installs. Again, total of 4. And they were professional. They were on time. They came in on budget and they cleaned up after they left. Just a really good experience. That is why they've got an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Window Nation, a 96% customer satisfaction rating, over 45,000 5-star reviews. This is why you need to check out my friends at Window Nation. It's windownation.com. The other thing that I like about Window Nation is they are a proud partner of the Wounded Warrior Project. Window Nation, again, windownation.com. All right, Joan, situation is as follows. Sam is not back yet from letting Butch Baker out.
Oh, yeah.
And
so we can just go on with the news here?
I'm going to go ahead and throw to you for the news at 8:30 on WTN.
All right, it is 8:31. I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. Well, Iran is firing more missiles at U.S. allies Jordan and Kuwait. The attack coming in the U.S. military as it's completed its first strikes against Iran in 6 days. Here's ABC's Karen Hua.
A heavy wave of American airstrikes on Iran, the first in nearly a week. Central Command saying dozens of military targets were hit, including command centers, missile facilities, and maritime capabilities.
The video from Iranian TV shows people digging through debris at what's described as a residential building on Keshem Island in the Persian Gulf. U.S. officials call it a powerful response to Iran's surprise attack on U.S. forces Tuesday. Metro Nashville Public Schools in the process now of adjusting bus routes and stops as the new school year is approaching. The Nashville Banner reports families can find their bus stop and track their students' bus route and stop times on the MNPS website. Now, that's also where you can find the new start and end times for each school. A big drop on Wall Street trading yesterday. The Dow Industrials lost more than 2%. That was 1,100 points, and you can blame it on the Federal Reserve. New Fed Chair Kevin Warsh announcing interest rates are staying where they are for now.
The economy is showing impressive resilience. Even with recent shocks, the trends are positive and reveal solid growth.
Now, Fed governors voting on the interest rate decision, it was a 9-3 vote. Those 3 had wanted interest rates to go higher. Also this morning, the Commerce Department reporting U.S. gross domestic product rose at a 1.5% annual rate in the second quarter. That was slightly less than expected. Market numbers here brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. And stocks have started off a little higher. The Dow Jones Industrials plus 274. The NASDAQ is up 402. And in the early going here, the S&P 500 index is up 64 points. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Thank you, Joan. 8:33, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, Joan.
Yeah.
Sam has hurled a huge insult at your humble host.
How could you, Sam?
Mm-hmm. You want to tell the class what it is that you said to me?
When Chris gets here, sure.
All right, we'll do it when Chris gets here. Because you know what? Because you know why? Because Chris actually threw you under the bus, Joan. So we'll talk about...
Wait, Chris threw me under the bus?
Yeah, apparently deservedly so. We'll talk about that coming up on Super Talk 99.7. Dan Mann is here for the Wellness Institute of Nashville. Listen, if you've been suffering from chronic back pain, neck pain, or knee pain, they can help you like they've helped so many others across Middle Tennessee, including yours truly. So whether it's non-surgical, spinal decompression, or the brand new Medical Bay One, they've always got the latest and the greatest technology to help get you off the sidelines and back in the game. Now, they did it for me years ago, and yeah, they can do it for you today. This Medical Bay One, right now, they've got a great deal going on. You mentioned my name, Dan Mandis. You get $33 off of each visit. It is the Epic Spinal Special. What is Medical Bay One? It uses red light technology and stem cell stimulation for tissue regeneration and healing. So have an active summer heading into fall and feel like the person you used to be. Courtesy of the Wellness Institute of Nashville, 615-246-5009 is the phone number, 615-246-5009, painisbad.com.
So we have an issue this morning in Jolton, still there. It's 24 westbound side of Whites Creek Pike. The overturned truck on the right shoulder now, but it's causing a lot of delays. Mount Juliet on westbound 40 before Mount Juliet Road. It's a crash in 3 right lanes are blocked off by it. Also Lebanon on South Hartman Drive north of Franklin Road. A crash just now cleared away. Also in Hermitage on 40 westbound, the crash there at Davidson-Wilson County line. That crash is now off to the shoulder. Again, that one causing delays as well. Traffic every 10 minutes every morning on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I walk through the valley where I harvest my grain. I take a look at my wife and realize she's very plain. But that's just perfect for an Amish like me. You know I shun fancy things like electricity.
You know what's so funny? I actually like this song, Amish Paradise.
It's better than the original.
I would agree, actually. You know why? I've never heard the original. I only know this song.
You've
Weird
never
Al,
heard
right?
the original?
Is this Weird Al?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I've never heard the original.
Coolio's Gangster's Paradise?
No, I never have. And you know what? It's going to stay that way.
Dan, come on.
Before I do anything else, I got to take care of please turn that off. I got to do
Living in an Amish paradise.
I got to do 2 pieces of business. Number 1, happy birthday to my buddy Mark. He is now 64 years old, big listener to the radio station.
Happy birthday, Mark.
Happy birthday, Mark.
Hey, Mark. Happy birthday.
And prayers for our buddy Larry.
Yes.
Who is in the emergency room or something. He's
he was
in the
as
hospital.
of last night.
Yeah, okay. So
Love Larry.
We all love Larry, man. This is the thing.
He called into my show yesterday to say mean things about Fauci.
Attaboy, Larry.
That'll put him right in the hospital.
Maybe it was my show that did it.
Yeah. Way to go.
So,
Let
anyways,
the nurses and doctors know how you feel about Fauci, Larry.
By the way, so
hopefully his nurses aren't wasting time TikTok dancing.
Oh, gosh.
And they're just getting to business.
TikTok dancing nurses?
Yeah, you don't remember that? During the height of the pandemic when people were dropping like flies, according to the CNN ticker, which I still don't understand how they could keep track of that. The nurses were able to TikTok dance.
I didn't know that.
Oh, gosh.
Yes, you did.
There were a million videos of it.
I must have. Okay, fine. I must have forgotten. I don't
You
know.
memory hold that?
That's not something dancing nurses, to be perfectly honest, is not something I would have forgotten. So, do you have a link? So never mind. Whatever. Anyway.
I'm pretty sure you saw the nurses dancing.
So why were you late?
Joan was slacking on the traffic.
I can't believe you.
So, Joan, did you miss
I had to
No.
personally text her.
Yeah.
And I never do that.
See if I'll ever give you traffic information on the go like that
Well,
again.
and then she
buddy.
gave me bad advice.
I said to stay to the right. I was watching the
They
cameras.
were the 2 slowest lanes, so
They
I
were
stayed
the
in
only
the
lanes open.
I stayed in the left lanes.
You know what, Joan?
I got through it. I got through it faster than the dopes in the right lanes that were listening to Joan's report on the radio. I'll tell you that much.
You know, Joan, keep it up, and we'll go with that Pennsylvania traffic reporter full time.
I'm okay with that.
Because I'm sure that she had a lot of better information.
I am so okay with that. Will you please tell management that that's the way we want to go?
We love, what's her name? Jenny O'Brien?
I don't know what her name is.
Sherry O'Malley?
It's Christine O'Brien.
Christine O'Brien.
Christine O'Brien.
I knew it was something.
Whatever.
Knew she was one of those Irish.
So, I've lost the respect of one of our listeners.
What?
Just one?
He says, Dan,
I'm
I've lost
sorry.
a lot of respect for you. Nobody likes Morgan Wallen.
What?
That's silly.
That is not true.
Not
Didn't
true.
he sell out a stadium?
He's sold out many stadiums.
He just had the Luke and Jack Hughes brothers come out on stage with him, or Quinn and Jack Hughes.
The hockey players.
The hockey players.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, who is? This is Justin.
Oh, Justin. Come on, Justin.
Well, because I asked the question of Butch, he is a songwriter kind of a guy. if there's one song that personifies the greatness of songs, what would it be? I thought
he was going to say Mark Pody's Jingle.
Okay, so
why didn't you bring that up? So
No,
he's
no,
a
no,
songwriter
you know what?
and he's losing the jingle battle. Like this is why you get accused of softball interviews, Dan.
I didn't even think about
This is
that.
why people say I would have asked the question.
I actually, you know what?
How are you going to get beat at your own game, brother?
He did say that he was a jingle singer.
Yes.
And I was going to ask him what he thought of Mark Pody's jingle, but I didn't. I didn't want to open the door for like bashing of other candidates. I wanted to talk about what he has to offer.
Well, apparently it's not jingles.
You know what I should have done? Do you know what the ultimate troll would have been? The ultimate troll with Butch Baker would have been, you're a jingle singer. I want you to sing Mark Pody's jingle.
Do it.
And see if he could have done better than the original version.
He should rewrite it and do a diss track over the same beat.
Oh, my goodness gracious. That's funny.
That's what
That
he
is
should
very
do.
funny.
Butch,
Anyway.
if you're still listening, that's a money idea.
It's totally money with like capital letters and all that.
The people would love it.
So you'll love this, Joan. So Chris comes in. Oh, and by the way, then I said to Sam, are we really running this late? And Sam said to me, what?
What?
You're on Joe Biden time.
He said, I'm on Joe Biden time.
He told me that as well when I was texting, and I said, thank goodness.
I know, because you were running late because of Joan's bad traffic reporting.
Joan was reporting like Joe Biden.
Oof.
And then Dan was keeping time like Joe Biden.
Oof.
And the winner was really just me.
And Joan Shingang, I'm going to pronounce her, Shanga
Jones.
Kawawa.
It's Jones,
It's
man.
Jones.
It's all you get is Jones. So then you'll love this. So Chris walks in today. You want to tell the class what you were doing? So I had this whole thing.
Well, I was ready for you to be saying mean things about Sam, so I wanted to make sure I had a copy for my records. So
Yeah.
I put on my Meta glasses and I said, hey, Meta, record.
And he starts recording. And he's doing it again. He's recording. So you're
I see
recording
it.
me right now.
Yeah, I see it flashing.
I just want to make sure that I have this to reference back.
So does that go to some sort of like a hard drive or something?
It just goes to my phone.
So are you gonna post it?
No.
That's so weird. See, it's weird. I can't trust anybody anymore, Joan.
The light blinks.
Well, I have to confess that I was the one that told Chris he should wear them this morning.
You know what? When I say that I can't trust anybody, literally, I can't even trust Joan Xing Shang Shang Shang.
Would you send me that video, Chris, when you're done with it?
I will.
All right.
I had already thrown Joan under the bus once, so I wasn't going to do it twice.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really nice of you, Chris.
You're welcome. Those things are sick, by the way. Birthday gift. And we get to like use them places.
Recording glasses, the recording glasses.
So I recorded. We were in the ultrasound room with all the kids, and we found out what the baby was going to be, and I got it all recorded on the
How
on the
cool.
glasses.
Are you going to tell us?
If you guys want to know, I don't know. You guys didn't seem like you cared.
What are you talking about?
Didn't seem like any of you were really like even happy for me and the family.
Do you know what? If you weren't expecting, I would throw my pen at you, but I like the pen.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
It's a girl.
All right. Yes.
Okay, so you're
It's
going to have
3-2 on the team
3-2. That's what I was going to
Yes.
ask. Okay, 3-2.
Yep.
Do you have a name picked out?
We got some workarounds. It's a work in progress.
You can name it Joan. You can name her
I think
Joan.
middle name Joan is really good.
We were going with Shanga Kawawa for the middle name. That's what we were
Joan
thinking.
Shanga Kawawa. Oh man.
I really like it. We're testing. We're testing it out.
Yeah. I think that's great.
Yeah.
How many months are we?
We're looking at a Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving Day.
Thanksgiving Day.
Oh my! Wait. So you could call her your little turkey?
Aww.
We could.
Somebody's telling me to rethink the shirt.
I know. I was wondering about that.
There's something wrong with my shirt. What is something wrong with my shirt?
It looks a little slouchy.
Is there something right with the shirt?
The color.
I was checking to see.
I
I was
don't
making sure
understand.
your nipples
Hold on.
weren't printing.
Hold on. Hey, Meta, record.
Can Meta tell you what's wrong with that shirt, Chris?
Hey, Meta, what's wrong with Dan's shirt?
I will admit that it needs to go in the dryer. That I will admit. It's a little wrinkled today, but I didn't realize that I was going to be, wrinkled shamed by listeners.
I think that if you sat up straight,
Wrinkle
it wouldn't
shamed.
be quite as bad.
She's saying you got bad posture.
I know I have bad posture. My mother died 3 years ago. I don't need another one.
Oh, jeez.
What?
Tell us how you really feel.
Goodness.
Oh my gosh.
Things are getting a little dicier.
Whoa.
Joan, I love you.
Yes. And I love your tires.
Do you know what my, what did she just say?
She loved your tires.
She dropped a thinly veiled Joan threat.
So my mom, for years, she bugged me about my posture. Do you know what she would do? Like, I'm 45 years old, and I see her, and she says, "Oh, hey, Danny," gives me a hug. You know what she'd do? She'd take her
Palm
pointing
of her
finger.
hand.
No, she'd take her pointer finger and she'd run it up my spine, reminding me to stand up straight. It drove me nuts.
That's how you avoid shrinkage.
She's a good mom.
Shrinkage?
Yeah. You shrink over time.
Oh, I thought that was the pool thing.
Leave it to Joan.
Yeah.
1333 had a good point. Dan, isn't that why you got into radio? So you didn't have to look good?
Damn. Mission accomplished.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I don't know. What is people, I don't understand what the problem is with my shirt and whatever.
Slouchy.
It's not slouchy.
Anthony Slouchy.
Dan's going to plead the fifth on his shirt.
That's exactly right. Anyway, whatever. So, no, I think that, whatever.
Oh.
Anyway.
Thanks for being late today so I could make it to this.
So glad that this segment has turned out really well. By the way, I think that my muscles look better than yours on the little thumbnail battle that we got going
Your
on.
fake muscles.
Have you noticed the bit that we're doing? We think it's hilarious. Sometimes we do things just for us
Yeah,
behind
I know.
the scenes.
I know.
So we're increasing my steroid regimen every day on the thumbnail until it's just muscles. Where there's going to be a day when it's just muscles.
It's just muscles, yeah.
And then we're going to work backwards and we're going to get to anorexic Chris.
Anorexic Chris.
It's going to be, it's going to be a slow burn, but we're going to do it all the way. Then we're going to go all the way back.
Are you? So eventually you'll be scrawny Chris?
It'll be like Ethiopian Chris.
Well, that's not funny. I'm making fun of Ethiopian people. They need food.
So will Ethiopian Chris on the thumbnail.
Okay, good. I got nothing.
Well, you championed USAID getting shut down.
30-42. Joan, the water was cold. See what you started, Joan? All right, so anyway, I'm now defeated, and I'm going to be leaving.
No,
my head is going to be
Dan.
hung low. I'm going to be so, I'm going to drive home. I'm going to start shame spiraling.
No,
Then you'll go to Commie Coffee and you'll be all right.
Do I need to throw away this shirt? That's what I need to know. Now, and can I just say, in fairness,
I think it's a nice shirt. I just jumped on the bandwagon because it was fun.
Just wear it when you're gardening.
If you ever go to a 90s throwback party, it would fit right in.
You got to put on a brave face because when that guy starts recording you at Starbucks, you got to let him know that you were in on it.
thank God I didn't say, oh, yeah, I agree. Chris Hand sucks. That'd end up on everybody's, social media. It would go viral and everything. So
then all Chris would have to say, the air out of the room when I drop the facts.
Good, Sam. You got anything else? Do you agree with President Trump? All right. You know what's so funny about this segment? It's now done. I like this shirt. My big problem with the shirt is it's too big now. That's one of the problems with the shirt. Amy,
you're too buff.
Amy and I went pants shopping earlier this month, and I think this weekend we're going to be going. You know what it is? It's like back to school time, so we're taking the youngling for clothes shopping this weekend. I'll be going as well.
I still feel like a 12-year-old anytime I go clothes shopping. I'm just like, I don't like this.
Joe,
Do I really have to try this on?
Joe, did you notice what happened to me earlier? I think it was last week. Did you notice what happened with my new pants? I was talking to you, and I noticed an issue with my pants. Did you notice my issue?
I don't generally look at your pants. Sorry.
I left the little the little tab thing that says what size the pants were on my left.
Oh, you did?
I did.
I didn't even notice
I'm
that.
literally talking to you, and I peeled it off of my pants. It was pretty damn funny. I'm like, I hope Joan didn't notice
It's a
that.
flex. It lets people know that you have new pants.
That's
just
exactly
goofing.
what it is.
You just new pant goofing.
It's exactly right. All right, Joan, what do you got coming up?
Well, First Lady Melania Trump making a stunning announcement on the world stage this morning is pretty cool. It's coming up at 9 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, very good. Thank you. And was Murphy, I saw you looking at your phone. Is Murphy texting in like he always does in this segment?
No, but some listeners were tweeting out congratulations for the
good.
baby girl. They were much more excited than you were, so that's nice.
I'm very excited about your little girl.
Oh, you're having a kid?
All right, got to go.
You know I love you guys.
Reaction as latest or traffic report.
8:56, the Glock store. All right, so here's a date that you need to keep in mind, and for a number of different reasons. Chris, do you know who is going to be at the Glock store August 8th for their free O-Site Optic Day? Do you know who's going to be there?
I heard, and this may lead to a Chris Handon family appearance.
It may as well. Cabana Wife is going to be there selling cookies again. So that's going to be yet another reason why you need to show up on Saturday, August 8th. It is the free O-Site Optic Day at the Glock store. Now, basically, you're going to get free hands-on range time, great O-Site giveaways, and exclusive in-store discounts as well, food trucks, and a whole lot more. And yes, including cookies by Cabana Wife Wilson. So the reviews on these O-Site optics, by the way, they have been amazing. So check them out for yourself. Saturday, August 8th. Going to start at 9. It's going to go till 6, so it's an all-day thing, but they've got a lot of great, I'm assuming they're going to do giveaways and all kinds of great things. Again, this is going to be on Saturday, August 8th, at the Glock store. It is where I still go for all my guns, my ammo, my training as well. Check them out online at glockstore.com and shoot270.com. Again, keep this date in mind. Next Saturday, August 8th, the Glock store, minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere.